What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6HW Chapter 176 Submit this Mangekyo to His Highness. Manage. Uchiha Fugaku was knocked flying, watching his subordinate and friend's body was smashed into countless times in the attack, and his eyes suddenly turned red. Fugaku, are you okay? When the Hyuga Heishi brothers saw that their attack was actually turned to attack their own people, they stopped immediately and looked at Fugaku and asked. Fugaku didn't answer, just retracted his eyes with red eyes, and turned to the pacifist PX0. Uchiha Fugaku stared intently at the pacifist and quickly raised his hands to seal. Fire-style balsam red. More than a dozen shurikens are wrapped in red flames and rush towards the pacifist PX0. Whether it is flames or shurikens, if only one is blocked, there will be follow-up supplies. A little carelessness can cause fatal damage to people. In the face of the attack, PX0 still raised his hands unhurriedly, and a special area seemed to be formed in front of the meatball in his hand, and all the ninjutsu rushed through PX0 in the way of compressed air all rebounded. Return. The ninjutsu that were ejected did not fly towards Uchiha Fugaku, but turned to the weaker ninjas of the two races. Damn. 220 Everyone was suddenly startled and flew back quickly. Those shuriken wrapped in flames crashed into the ground, burning a 2-meter radius to black. Our ninjutsu will be bounced back by him, what should we do? A group of people looked at the ninjutsu that was bounced back by PX0 again, and they were shocked. Hyuga Heishi said with some confusion while dodging the laser beam emitted by PX0. You prepare water. Look at me. Jiraiya's face also sank, he gave an order, looked forward, and quickly tapped his handprint again. Fire-style toad oil firebomb. Jiraiya moved in the direction of the bear and spewed a combination of ninjutsu together with toad bunta. The ignited toad oil turned into a long river of flames that came from the sky and pressed down towards PX0. Get behind me. PX0 said a word, and the air in front of him was compressed and released by the meatball again. Advertisement Crocodile and the others did not hesitate and quickly came behind PX0. At this time, the flames had already hit, and the air in front of PX0 quickly bounced off the long river of flames ahead, and even the terrifying heat wave was bounced away. Being separated, several people standing behind PX0 were not hurt. No effect. Seeing the attack bounced off again, everyone fell silent. It's his hands, everyone attacked from other directions at the same time. Uchiha Fugaku also discovered through the bloodwheel eye that the means of PX0 were all from the meatballs on his hands, and immediately said with a sullen face. When everyone heard it, the tiger body was shocked, and the spirit suddenly came. According to Uchiha Fugaku's words, everyone quickly carried the prepared water-style ninjutsu and dispersed. All ninjas are distributed around, releasing various water-style ninjutsu at the same time. They found out and blocked these attacks. Hearing Uchiha Fugaku's words, the crane's face sank, and he jumped into the air with a grunt, and several tempest kicks were kicked out by the ninjutsu in front of him. Desert Dam. Crocodile let out a low voice, and a huge sandbar instantly rose from under his feet, blocking him. Don't let these ninjutsu attack at the same time. Orochimaru looked at the ninjutsu, sneered, and slapped the handprint on his hand again. Summoning 10,000 snakes, Orochimaru let out a low voice, and the smoke and dust spread all over, and Jiraiya in the distance suddenly felt tight. The smoke cleared, and a huge purple snake appeared around Orochimaru. Orochimaru, why are you looking for me again? This time if you don't prepare 100 living people as sacrifices for me, AFBDB, I will eat it with you. Although the big snake is coiled, it is estimated to be 1,000 meters long. The Orochimaru on the top of its head is like an ant compared to its huge snake head. Even the PX0, which is nearly 7 meters in size, is not even enough for it to open its mouth. Swallowed. Bang. Boom. Boom. As soon as Wan Shi's voice fell, countless ninjutsus were already smashing around, and they kept hitting Wan Shi's body. Countless ninjutsu caused Wan Shi to suffer for a while, and she immediately raised her head and looked outside. Advertisement, hey, these people, eat whatever you want. Orochimaru sneered and said lightly towards Wan Snake. Okay. Looking at Uchiha Fugaku, Orochimaru's eyes were full of excitement. With the scientific research center in place, he would definitely be able to further study the mystery of the hemorrhagic wheel eye. At this time, the rotation of Uchiha Fugaku's pupils also stopped. Wan Snake's face sank, and then he looked at Uchiha Fugaku. At this moment, the Guyu in Uchiha Fugaku's pupils was spinning rapidly, staring at Wan Snake, and Wan Snake was obviously attracted by it, and he almost fell into it. Orochimaru was shocked. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Fugaku was able to interfere with Wanshe, and quickly wanted to wake Wanshe. The big flame bomb accurately hit the huge body of Wan Snake, instantly igniting the toad oil on it, and the flame quickly wrapped the Wan Snake. Unprepared, the intense pain of the flame ignited on the body, and the Wan Snake instantly escaped from Uchiha Fugaku, awake in the disturbance. The ultimate of the Uchiha clan, Mangekyo, the Bloodwheel Eye. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. A stream of brown toad oil was sprayed out in an instant and shot towards Wan Snake. Looking at the 10,000 snakes, Jiraiya's face sank. Damn the Uchiha clan. Beside him, Jiraiya didn't want to let this opportunity go, and with a loud shout, a huge flaming bullet rushed out. She looked at it with disdain in her eyes and planned to dodge, but suddenly saw a pair of crimson pupils, which made his body froze, and all the toad oil was poured on Shi. Fire-style big flame bullet. Over the head of the roaring snake, Orochimaru noticed the change in Uchiha Fugaku, and was shocked. He didn't expect that the anger of losing his companion would actually allow him to open the legendary Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eye. She didn't speak anymore, looked at Jiraiya and the toad bunda under her, with arrogance and disdain in his eyes. After speaking, he opened his mouth and bid Jiraiya directly. Be sure to bring these eyes to your highness. Boom. After seeing a group of people around, the huge snake-eyed pupil shrank slightly. Toad Oil. Chapter 177 Bear's Paw Impact 1. This is an opportunity. Orochimaru looked at Uchiha Fugaku and Hyuga Heishi, and the excitement in his eyes was even more intense. With the blood of the Hyuga clan and Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eyes, Orochimaru didn't even know what kind of things he could create in the future. At this moment, the toad oil on the snake was still burning, but Orochimaru completely forgot about the tumbling snake. I'll help you put out the fire. Crocodile smiled when he saw the tragic state of the snake, and the yellow sand instantly converged on the place where the snake was on fire, and in the blink of an eye, all the flames were sealed off from the air and buried. 10,000 snakes trembled and emerged from the yellow sand. The flame just now was extinguished. Although it brought pain to it, there was not much substantial damage. Just when one snake was about to move on, Uchiha Fugaku suddenly jumped out. His bloody eyes and pupils had completely changed from before. Heaven thinks and lives. The lines in Uchiha Fugaku's eyes Luffy spun rapidly, and the moment 10,000 snakes' eyes touched Uchiha Fugaku's eyes, his body was also a little dazed. Peefed. In the next moment, Shi fell directly to the ground and passed out in a coma. In the moment just now, Shi seemed to have experienced the collapse of the sky. The powerful mental consumption made it overwhelmed. What a powerful illusion. Is it the ninjutsu in the eyes after Mangekyo is activated? Orochimaru looked at the movement in his heart and became even more fiery. Peefed. After using the illusion that Mangekyo opened, Uchiha Fugaku was also very exhausted, lying on one knee directly on the ground. Advertisement. How are you? Jiraiya noticed Uchiha Fugaku and asked quickly. If these people from the world government are strong, then their resistance to illusions should be very low. So far, they have not tried to use any illusions on the people of the world government. I'm fine. Using illusions on these people, they shouldn't be able to resist. Uchiha Fugaku obviously thought of this too and said immediately. When everyone heard Uchiha Fugaku's words, they nodded in unison, and began to quickly prepare the illusion that they could unleash. It's illusion, everyone be careful, these guys are preparing illusion. Orochimaru naturally heard Uchiha Fugaku's words, and immediately reminded the rear. And he himself quickly rushed into the local crowd. Illusion? Although I don't know what it is, let's stop them first. Hearing Orochimaru's reminder, the crane immediately spoke to several people. There is no need for cranes at all. PX0 has already started a new round of attacks, pressure cannons are constantly being released, and those ninjas are all tired of dealing with them. Orochimaru, who was charged by the long snake, even had to beware of Crocodile's attack from the sand below at any time, and there was still time to release ninjutsu. Even Jiraiya had to dodge the special care from Crocodile and Crane. Toad's huge reminder always attracted attacks, which made him disarm summoning in desperation. Jiraiya just dodged a sandblade slash from Crocodile. He found that the chakra of the ninjas he brought had consumed a lot, while Crocodile and Crane on the opposite side seemed to have endless power, constantly releasing their feet. But what made him even more terrified was that two of the ninjas of the two races that he brought with him, for some unknown reason, after contacting the old woman, they started to attack his own people. Stare at the Crane. Advertisement. The next moment, he saw an elite Chunin who was caught off guard by his nails, was approached by the Crane Vice Admiral, and was directly enveloped by a dull milky white halo emanating from his hands. Then, in Jiraiya's unbelievable gaze, the ninja of the Uchiha clan who was looking at the Crane with resentment instantly became extremely gentle, and even saluted the old woman kindly, then quickly raised ninjutsu and turned to a member of the Hyuga clan. This? Jiraiya looked at all this, he felt as if he was dreaming. Is this an illusion? Can an illusion do this? And this old woman has already managed 3 people in a short period of time, isn't her illusion expended? 0. Ask for flowers. Seeing that there was no way to take the opponent for a short time, when Jiraiya was considering whether to retreat or not, she suddenly saw that PX0 stopped attacking, but raised her hands and embraced the sky with the palms facing up. His energy is out and he needs to rest. Looking at the appearance of PX0, a group of ninjas were instantly overjoyed. PX0 stopped attacking, everyone's pressure suddenly dropped, and even Jiraiya gave up the plan to retreat. However, looking at the strange movements of PX0 in front of her, Jiraiya always felt a little uneasy in her heart. All this, only a few people in Marine know that PX0 is not resting, but preparing for a terrifying move. For a time, the people on both sides were like chicken blood, frantically outputting each other. Crocodile was also beaten back by ninjutsu or was broken into sand, but because those ninjas simply couldn't do the moment when Crocodile had water. Inflict physical attacks on it, and those water can only be quickly absorbed by Crocodile. As for the Crane, there was already a fourth person who turned against her. Everyone was on guard against her and did not dare to keep too close. In the end, Orochimaru became the worst one. Countless ninjutsu continued to greet Orochimaru. A big snake turned into pieces and was immediately cut into pieces by those ninjutsu. If it wasn't for the sum total of those ninjas and Jiraiya who had to guard against others, Jiraiya would have been swarmed to death. However, Jiraiya glanced at PX0 from time to time, and found that the air above him had turned into a faint milky white as if it had materialized, similar to the flesh ball in his palm. Patriarch Fugaku, is it alright? Can you use the illusion again to stop that guy? For some reason, Jiraiya was always a little uneasy, and finally looked at Uchiha Fugaku, hesitated, and asked loudly. Factory, Chapter 178 Run away with all your strength. Finally found out? But I won't let you guys stop this guy. Crocodile saw Uchiha Fugaku PX0 immediately laughing and whipped up a hurricane on his hand. How? But in the next moment, Crocodile's eyes suddenly condensed, and his eyes were a little abrupt. Peeved. The next moment, Crocodile fell to the ground with dazed eyes. What? Seeing Crocodile fall to the ground instantly, everyone in the world government was shocked. It's the illusion of the Uchiha clan. Orochimaru let out a low voice, and after another group of snakes burst out in front of him to block the ninjutsu in front of him, he had also consumed a lot of chakra and hurriedly retreated to the crowd. 2-2 equals. Illusion. He looked forward subconsciously, and then his body shook suddenly, as if he had suffered a serious injury. His body swayed, one knee lay on the ground, and his arms were strongly supported to prevent himself from falling unconscious. Too soon. Obviously I felt it for a long time, but I didn't expect it to be just a moment. Even if I use observation haki to crack it immediately, it is still a step too late. He gritted his teeth, looked forward, and said in horror, recalling that he was in the illusion just now. My body is integrated into the heaven and the earth, and it falls apart with the heaven and earth. I can clearly feel that every muscle and cell of my own is being destroyed, and they are all in great pain, and I can only watch. If it is not myself, if he came out of the illusion in time, he might immediately become mentally ill, but now he is still a little depressed. It was the first time she saw the world of ninja ninjutsu, and she actually hurt herself in an instant. Advertisement. It was another 2 consecutive releases of T&C in Destiny. At this moment, Uchiha Fugaku's eyes already had blood seeping out. In Uchiha Fugaku's eyes at this moment, there was already a blood-red world in front of his eyes. At this moment, the bear's paw impact of PX0 has also been compressed to the size of a grinding disc. Just after opening Mangekyo's bloodwheel eyes, he released the pupil technique 3 times in a row. The intense discomfort caused Uchiha Fugaku to tremble. Patriarch Uchiha, are you alright? Noticing the appearance of Uchiha Fugaku, Jiraiya was surprised, but after the battle just now, it was too late for them to release the attack ninjutsu, so they could only rely on the pupil technique of Uchiha Fugaku. I'm fine. Uchiha Fugaku shook his hand, shaking his palm away. He had to leave these people behind. At this moment he already felt that the big guy was preparing a big move, and if he was released, they would not be able to escape that move at all range. Uchiha Fugaku raised his head and looked at PX0 again, which made Orochimaru's heart tighten. He wanted to block it, but was stopped by PX0. You protect them. After PX0 finished speaking, the air in his hand shrank again, and it had been compressed to the size of a watermelon compared to PX0's body. Good. Orochimaru's heart moved, and he responded, and countless long snakes rushed out of his sleeves, and in the blink of an eye, he drowned all the people on his side except PX0, and the outermost layer was surrounded by 2 layers of large snakes. Flesh has its own responsibility to resist the incoming damage. Can't wait any longer. No one knows how big the white meatball has grown in the end. The white meatball stopped rolling and expanding around, but a terrifying invisible ring-shaped impact rushed around, and the trees were all smashed by the powerful force. The grass and trees in the forest and the hills next to it were even overturned, like a scene of doomsday. Jiraiya's expression is extremely complicated. They don't understand why Uchiha Fugaku's illusion has no effect on that big guy. Is it really just a lifeless machine? Advertisement. Boom. That white meatball looks like a bright light, illuminating everything around it into silver. It looks light and fluttering, but it appears in the center of the crowd in an instant, and then the silver light becomes brighter and brighter. Everyone felt blank. Seeing this, everyone fell silent. Even, they can research from these few people the method that can make themselves desertified and improve their physical strength. How's it going? The pupil technique was activated again. This time the target was PX0. Everyone held their breath. The air had been compressed by the opponent and became smaller and smaller. Anyone could already feel the terrifying aura contained in the white ball in PX0's hand, but fortunately no one can stop them anymore. As long as this big guy is solved, then they can easily take the rest back. Everyone ran out of the house and stared at the silvery sky in the distance. No, it has no effect on that guy. Everyone, run away, use all your strength, and protect yourself. Heaven thinks and lives. His pupil power was exhausted within a day, and Uchiha Fugaku could only see blood red at this moment, and his eyes seemed to be blind, but at this moment he was more concerned about whether PX0 had an illusion. In everyone's eyes, the air mass in PX0's hand was compressed again, and it was completely enveloped in PX0's palm. Noticing the movement on Orochimaru's side, Uchiha Fugaku knew that he could no longer stare, and the pupil in his right eye, which had been covered with blood, spun rapidly again. This time, the release of the pupil technique was not as easy as before. Fainting, his vision in front of his eyes was blurred, and he resisted not letting himself fall. The sound and vibration of the explosion spread for hundreds of kilometers, and the windows and paper glass of the nearby towns were all shattered, and some houses in disrepair were even collapsed. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. As the white light completely enveloped everyone, a moment later the sound of vibration came. In the blink of an eye, everything within 30 kilometers had been swallowed up by the white meatball, and the meatball was still growing. In the non-stop expansion, the diameter grows rapidly. But at the moment he has no time to think, because the enemy has pushed out the milky white ball in his hand. Chapter 179 Battle Op Fruit Ability. What happened? There was an earthquake. What happened to the east? Is it the end? The people in the towns of the Land of Fire near the battlefield watched in horror. The sky in the distance was completely dyed silver, and countless question marks flashed in their minds. And the guard troops in the city could not make any explanation for this. They could only try their best to maintain the law and order in the city, so as not to cause commotion. But the violent vibrations constantly coming from their feet made them secretly beat drums in their hearts. Crash. The pacifist PX-0 pulled open a pile of broken soil and gravel behind him, revealing a pile of corpses of long snakes, and continued to dig deep under the corpses. Crocodile and Orochimaru were exposed to the pacifist PX-0. In front of you. At this moment, Orochimaru took a deep breath of fresh air, and then gasped. Although he had just been shielded by the bodies of countless long snakes, he still received a lot of shock, and the pain in his body made him almost speechless. Unsurprisingly, the pacifist PX-0 stretched out his hands and pressed it against Orochimaru's chest. Yin Healing Bullet 05. The next moment, behind Orochimaru, a dark red bubble that looked like a meatball appeared quickly. Deliver? Orochimaru was stunned for a moment, then his face was full of wonder, and he found that all the fatigue and pain disappeared as the bubbles left his body. If it weren't for the ruins that had been completely flattened around, the rest would be as if nothing had happened. The pacifist PX-0 ignored Orochimaru's surprise, but continued to come to the crane's side and also released a huge bubble, and then the crane also quickly recovered. Compared with Orochimaru, people in the world of pirates who are physically strong have no body, suffered too much damage. The damage they received was all caused by Uchiha Fugaku's pupil technique, and it was enough to get rid of the negative effects of exhaustion and depression. Crocodile and Crane are back to life again, but Might, who is only genin, wears it. Although he is a taijutsu ninja, the attack just now almost cost him half his life. At this moment, his breathing has become extremely difficult, weak. Advertisement, Yin Healing Bomb, of course. PX-0 would not let him die, and quickly discharged it again, quickly pushing out the sadness and exhaustion in his body. Might Die also quickly opened his eyes and looked at his hands in surprise. Cough, cough, cough. Not far away, Jiraiya supported his body to overthrow the earth and stone on his body and stood up. The impact of the explosion just now caused him a lot of damage, and the ninjas he brought, all the ninjas below Jonin, were all seriously injured and passed out. Glancing at the completely smoothed ground around him, Jiraiya sighed, and then on his side, Brother Hyuga reluctantly stood up from the ground. Aren't you dead yet? Orochimaru saw the three stand up. With a change of face, he saw what he said in a deep voice to the three of them, and then he quickly raised his handprint, and his two arms turned into a giant snake, biting towards the three of them. Damn! Just getting up from the ground, the three of them were still a little stunned, and suddenly they saw the attack from Orochimaru, and the three of them were stunned. Just when the two big snakes were about to collide with the three of them, several golden lights suddenly came from a distance, and everyone found that a golden figure was constantly flashing and approaching in the distance. Almost at the next moment, the golden figure came to them. It's Minato. When Jiraiya saw the figure, she immediately put a seed on her face. The golden figure was none other than Namikaze Minato. Space field. Namikaze Minato came to the front of several people and quickly released a circle of semicircle-shaped fields. This is the room slaughterhouse when One Piece John Law used op fruit. Namikaze Minato did not know this, and an invisible space was quickly destroyed. Take control as your own domain, which Namikaze Minato himself calls the space domain. What's this? Advertisement. The realm included Orochimaru, which made Orochimaru suddenly startled, and a strange feeling appeared in his heart. Namikaze Minato looked at Orochimaru indifferently, and pulled out the long sword from his waist. A cold light flashed, and Orochimaru's two long snake arms were quickly cut off, and then Orochimaru was cut in half. The next moment, Orochimaru's limbs and body, floating in that invisible field, suddenly let Jiraiya and the others come to the spirit. Minato, you can already use the power of op fruit to attack? Looking at Namikaze Minato, Jiraiya asked excitedly. Yes, teacher, I can already understand the field that your Excellency Yagyu was talking about, but it consumes a lot of money, and I can't hold on for long. At this moment, Namikaze Minato's face was not very good looking. He kept using Flying Thunder God to hurry, and once he came over, he opened up the field of op fruit, using the power of the Operation 223 fruit to consume him extremely seriously. Almost only for a moment, his breathing has begun to be a little heavy. His body was slightly numb due to excessive fatigue, but there were still enemies in front of him, so he didn't dare to easily withdraw from the power of Op Fruit. It's not great now. Looking at the area belonging to Namikaze Minato, Tsuru sighed secretly. What's wrong with this? This guy doesn't even have Haki, let's see how I deal with him. Hearing Crane's words, Crocodile sneered, squatted down quickly, and quickly stretched his hands into the yellow sand. The next moment, a 100-meter-high sand wall quickly rose outside Namikaze Minato's field. The sand wall quickly advanced to the middle, stopped when it reached the outer circle of the field, and quickly sealed it, and then there was continuous yellow sand. Stacking up, Crocodile intends to directly accumulate enough yellow sand and finally disperse the support and directly crush them to death. Oops. Seeing that the light keeps disappearing, when I just thought that I could teach Akiri Yagyu's people a lesson with Op Fruit, I didn't expect that the other party's means would be beyond my imagination. Chapter 180 Zongjia Beian plus Otsutsuki Bloodline. In the complete darkness, everyone felt extremely depressed, but they did not dare to release the fire to illuminate, otherwise they would be suffocated soon. No solution anymore. Brother Hyuga Heishi looked around and found that the yellow sand was accumulating more and more. Patriarch, Jiraiya, Minato, I tried my best to flush this place out, you all get out. After hesitating for a while, Hyuga Hizashi said in a deep voice. What? But then you'll be crushed to death by the sand outside. Looking at the dozens of tons of sand outside, Hyuga Heishi said solemnly. There is no time, the eyes of the Uchiha Patriarch have gone blind, you are the pillars of Konoha, you have to go back, you can't stay here. Hyuga Hizashi continued. Don't say it anymore, I've decided. Hyuga Hizashi didn't give other people a chance to speak at all, and chakra quickly gathered in his hands. 8 trigrams air palm. The next moment, a pattern of 8 trigrams appeared under Hyuga Hizashi's feet, and the chakra shockwave that gathered all the chakras in Hyuga Hizashi's body quickly rushed forward. Big hole. After using up all the remaining chakra and breaking a big hole in the sand wall, Hyuga Hizashi's spirit is a little sluggish. You rush out. With all his remaining strength, Hyuga Hizashi shouted. Several people did not hesitate and started rushing outside. Stop them now. Seeing that the siege was broken, Orochimaru, who had been cut into a stick, immediately shouted loudly. PX0 and Crane seemed to have been waiting for a long time. They had just been broken open at the entrance of the cave, and before the people inside rushed out, countless heel pressure cannons rushed over. Boom, gas. A series of explosions poured all the yellow sand down, and the next moment, the sand wall was filled again. Advertisement, damn, there's no escape. Unexpectedly, a few people outside were staring at him, and Jiraiya finally showed despair. Wangsha has begun to rise, and it is estimated that it is going to give us the final blow. Hyuga Heishi looked at the surrounding yellow sand getting thicker and thicker, but the inner wall was rising, his face changed, and he said immediately. Hearing Hyuga Hiashi's words, Jiraiya's face sank and looked at Namikaze Minato. Minato, you rush out, you have to rush out, only you are the most likely to escape here, you must not die here, I will help you open an exit with Patriarch Hyuga. Jiraiya said to Namikaze Minato, word by word, but teacher, then why don't you? Namikaze Minato hesitated, there is no but, you go out quickly. Jiraiya's face sank and her voice was extremely serious, making Namikaze Minato's face change. Boom. The next moment, Sha-Pei was blasted out of a big hole again, and when he arrived at Kunwu, he rushed out quickly, and then the heel pressure cannons came one after another, bombarding the sand wall, and the yellow sand tilted again, sealing the hole in an instant. Kanai rushed into the distance. Namikaze Minato's figure instantly appeared beside Kanai, and then quickly threw Kanai out, teleported again, and quickly escaped into the distance. It's the kid who got the op fruit. Looking at Namikaze Minato's back, Crocodile said something. Don't worry about him, His Highness wants to keep him first. Crane glanced in the direction Namikaze Minato left, shook his head lightly, and looked at the sand wall again. At this moment, the yellow sand had begun to break away from Crocodile's control, and the 100-ton yellow sand quickly smashed down. He rushed out. Hyuga Heishi watched Namikaze Minato leave, he was also relieved, and then said lightly. But no one answered, and his expression suddenly froze, using the last of his strength to manipulate his white eyes to look around, only to find himself and the unconscious Hyuga Hizashi left here. Suddenly, a sad feeling of being betrayed surged into his heart. He didn't expect that his two brothers would be buried here in the end. Advertisement thinking of the scene where the Hyuga clan is under the scrutiny and lost the protection of the strong, they will be oppressed and studied by various clans, and his face suddenly flushed. Puff! Hyuga Heishi was so angry that he lay down on his back. Boom! The next moment, the yellow sand poured out, completely submerging it. Jiraiya, is that guy Jiraiya dead? Looking at the dunes ahead, Orochimaru asked with a frown. No, there are only 2 people inside. I see that they all have blank eyes, so I didn't kill them for the time being. Crocodile shook his head, and the sand dunes in front quickly spread out like flowing water, revealing the Hyuga Heishi brothers wrapped like rice dumplings inside, and said lightly. The eyes of the Hyuga clan. Originally, Orochimaru was a little disappointed when he heard Crocodile's words, but when he saw the Hyuga Hizashi brothers, his face was filled with joy immediately. What do we do now? Next to him, Might Dai came over and asked the crane. I can take you back with me. Glancing at a few people, PX0 suddenly said. Take us back? The others were stunned. PX, okay. Zero didn't answer the doubts of several people, stretched out one hand to hug everyone in his arms. Orochimaru was also packed up with clothes, and then pressed the other hand to the ground. Boom. With a soft sound, PX0 and a few people were quickly bounced into the sky, quickly flew towards the direction of the City of the Sky, and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. At this moment, the golden light and thunder and lightning were churning over the Sky City, and then descended near the Lord's mansion. Virgo and Kizaru took Otsutsuki Yuto and Otsutsuki Shuren into the Scientific Research Center, where Akiri Yagyu was already waiting for them. Akiri Yagyu hung up the phone, took a deep breath, and calmed himself down immediately. The news that Orochimaru and the others had caught Hyuga Heishi had also been notified to Akiri Yagyu, the eyes of the Hyuga clan, and the blood of the Otsutsuki clan. Then it means that Tenseigan has arrived. Chapter 181 Transplanted White Eyes. In the Sky City Scientific Research Center, even Marine's scientific research team was transferred back, standing on both sides with Vinsmoke's scientific research team, with Gaisa and Orochimaru in the middle. At this moment, the entire Sky City is in a state of martial law, everyone is on guard, no one knows what happened, only that even the Marine Academy is on holiday. All the Marine generals on the Sky City, together with Zephyr and CP9, and even Crane personally guarded the Scientific Research Center. Your Highness. Seeing the arrival of Akiri Yagyu, everyone shouted respectfully. What about making such a big battle? Akiri Yagyu glanced strangely at Hancock and Momoshage behind him. He just asked them to prepare. He was going to have an operation. Why are these people so nervous? The big deal is to let Crane, PX0 and Hogbok wait outside. I didn't expect that the two of them even notified Zephyr. It just happened to be in time for the Marine Academy's holiday. In order to avoid all possible accidents, Your Highness, we must ensure your safety. When Hancock heard Akiri Yagyu's words, he said in a coquettish voice. Momoshage didn't speak, but kept nodding beside 223. Okay. Akiri Yagyu nodded, agreeing with the idea of the two, and didn't say much. After entering the Scientific Research Center, everyone has been waiting for a long time. Your Highness. Guy took the lead with Orochimaru and bowed deeply towards Akiri Yagyu. Orochimaru, how are you? Is your body okay? Akiri Yagyu nodded and asked. Thanks to His Royal Highness, who has both the giant bloodline gene and Mr. Lucci's gene bloodline, and the gene enhancement and transformation by the Vinsmoke family, I am very satisfied with my current body. Orochimaru bowed deeply to Akiri Yagyu again and said respectfully. Advertisement at this moment, Orochimaru looks the same as before, because the previous body was newly torn apart by Namikaze Minato, the Vinsmoke family's scientific research team and Gaisa co-chaired, and a new body was cloned and transformed for it, and even Uchiha was integrated into it. The blood follows the boundary of the family, and prepared a pair of blood-round eyes for Orochimaru. AFBD, for this new body, Orochimaru never thought that he could have such a body. He has both Giants and Uchiha blood, plus his upper Luki talent gene, whether it is strength, blood, or talent, they are far beyond his original body, using living corpse reincarnation, and even the chakra is preserved. At this moment Orochimaru's strength has been closer. Your Highness, are you ready? Recovering from the excitement, Orochimaru then looked at Akiri Yagyu seriously. It's okay, we can start. Akiri Yagyu nodded, and the next moment, the front door of the Scientific Research Center outside was instantly closed, and countless headlights lit up the entire Scientific Research Center. Scare la 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 la, Your Highness, please come with us. Guy said hello and floated to the front of an operating table. Beside the operating table there were 10 packs of fresh blood on the machine to ensure its activity. Next to the operating table and the blood plane, there was a figure standing. Ha ha ha, Your Highness, I finally see you again, I thought you didn't need me anymore. The figure had a huge iron mouth, and when he saw Akiri Yagyu, he put it on his hips and said with a big smile. Shut up, Wapple, it's getting ready for work. Hearing Waipal's laughter, Guy immediately took out a ball of gas, stopped Waipal's laughter, and said coldly. The original king of Drum Island, Wapple, and the munch fruit-capable person, was the third person that Akiri Yagyu recruited after the Silver Fox Foxy and Hogbark using the original 3 advanced world recruitment orders. Your Highness, please lie down here. After teaching Wapple a lesson, Guy changed his attitude instantly and said respectfully towards Akiri Yagyu. Akiri Yagyu nodded, without any hesitation, lying on the white operating table. Looking at Akiri Yagyu, everyone gets nervous. Your Highness, I may need to draw out some of your blood first. Guy looked at Akiri Yagyu and said seriously, advertisement. Don't ask me, you can just start. Akiri Yagyu rolled his eyes, wondering why he was going to die for a blood change. Guy threw the knife. Everyone was holding gauze, serum, and staring at Akiri Yagyu just in case. Orochimaru has put on a pair of white gloves at this moment, and at the same time, there are 2 white eyeballs beside him. His Royal Highness, how do you feel? If you can still hold on, then I will start. Handed Akiri Yagyu's blood bag to Wapple, and at the same time, another person took out Otsutsuki Yudo's blood bag on the shelf and handed it over together. Then the 3rd bag, the 4th bag, the 5th bag. Let's start. There was a tingling pain in the arm. Akiri Yagyu could clearly feel the blood in his body was draining along with the arm. I don't know how long it took. The needle was pulled out, and there was already 300 cc of blood in the blood bag below. Hey, ha 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 ha, leave it to me, Tun Factory. Wapol took 2 blood bags with a smile and put them into his mouth. Akiri Yagyu raised his brows, trying not to let himself resist, but Orochimaru's strong physique made Akiri Yagyu lose consciousness after several consecutive injections of anesthesia. When Akiri Yagyu woke up again, he found that everyone around him was looking at him nervously. A group of people glanced at each other, and immediately knew that they were too nervous. After all, it was just a small operation that anyone could easily do on weekdays, but it was so serious that everyone took a deep breath and tried to relax themselves. The blood bag is taken by Guy and injected into Akiri Yagyu's body through Akiri Yagyu's other arm. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After Wapol's face changed for a while, he put his palm into his mouth the next moment and took out the bloodline that had been fused. Minutes passed, and Akiri Yagyu just lay there and fell asleep. Chapter 182. Reappearing the Unfamiliar Temptation. In the Marine Research Center, everyone is waiting beside Akiri Yagyu. His eyes were fixed on Akiri Yagyu, although all the operations were over, but just in case, no one left. Akiri Yagyu, who was lying on the operating table, frowned and let out a soft moan, and everyone hurriedly looked at PX0. I saw that PX0 quickly raised his palm, lying on Akiri Yagyu's chest, and a dark red meatball-like bubble quickly drilled out of Akiri Yagyu's body. And the next moment, Akiri Yagyu's frowning brows relaxed immediately. They didn't help Akiri Yagyu get rid of the anesthetic right away. They knew that Akiri Yagyu needed a good rest for a while. I don't know how long it took. Akiri Yagyu woke up faintly, and there was still a group of people around. How long have I been asleep? Akiri Yagyu sat up from the operating table, but did not feel tired after sleeping for too long, which is why PX0 kept helping Akiri Yagyu to push out all the fatigue and pain. Your Highness, it's been 2 days. Orochimaru glanced at Akiri Yagyu's eyes in surprise, and said respectfully, He knew very well that what he had implanted into Akiri Yagyu was a pair of white eyes from the Hyuga clan. How could it become a pair of eyes with blue and white pupils? Moreover, these eyes gave Orochimaru an incomparably strange feeling, which he had never felt when he faced Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo Bloodwheel eyes. 2 days? Has Tensagen's fetal movement period passed? Akiri Yagyu looked at his blue-white pupils like sparks and said secretly, Your Highness, your eyes? Orochimaru finally asked the doubts in his heart, and at the same time, using the underwater scene, he proposed a water mirror, and Akiri Yagyu also saw his blue and white pupils. His Royal Highness, we have carried out a slice study on the adult Kizaru Admiral brought back. The master has enough genes from the Otsutsuki bloodline to provide research. Should the remaining baby without eyes continue to be studied? Advertisement. At this time, the scientific research team of the Vinsmoke family came up and asked the report. Does Otsutsuki give up someone else? Akiri Yagyu frowned. Bring him to Marine College for foster care, weekly blood sampling, and constant attention to research. Now that the research material is available, Akiri Yagyu intends to make the only remaining descendant of the pure Otsutsuki bloodline his constant source of blood. You must know that Otsutsuki Kagaya, as the ancestor of chakra on the earth, has a steady stream of chakra, and the Otsutsuki family on the moon is the direct descendant of Kagaya. Each cell also stores enough chakra. The surging amount of chakra, even the Hyuga family cannot use acupuncture points. All banned. Although Akiri Yagyu can't compare with Otsutsuki Kagaya in terms of chakra now, it has definitely surpassed any ninja on the whole earth. Plus Tensigen, once entering Tensigen chakra mode, Akiri Yagyu's power in chakra ninjutsu is faint, also can properly exceed Cage level. Tensigen is no less bizarre than Rinnegan, and more importantly, he is now the only one who knows the secrets of the moon. Just when Akiri Yagyu was rejoicing, he suddenly felt a shock in his heart, and a terrifying force was attacking his soul. Humph! Akiri Yagyu's face sank. He could feel that this power was the same as the prying eyes he had encountered before. Is that mysterious power about to suppress him? With a cold snort from Akiri Yagyu, Conqueror's haki quickly released, and at the same time, his eyes also quickly burst into blue and white light, and his whole body was immediately wrapped in green chakra, forming a set of chakra hunting clothes. What? Somewhere, Akiri Yagyu heard a suspicious voice, and then the attack from the soul quickly dissipated. Akiri Yagyu looked up at the sky and knew in his heart that he felt the same breath as the Otsutsuki bloodline that he now fused with. Your Highness, what's the matter with you? Seeing Akiri Yagyu suddenly release haki and enter a strange mode again, it shocked the people around him, asked quickly. 0. Ask for flowers. Advertisement, I'm fine, go ahead. Lyle, how is the ancient weapon Pluton assembled? I even gave you the real thing. Akiri Yagyu shook his head and said nothing, then turned to the Marine Research Unit. His Royal Highness, the final acceptance work has arrived, and I will wait for you to check it out. Lyle looked at the terrifying coercion exuding from Akiri Yagyu. His face was pale, and he quickly stepped forward and said respectfully. Akiri Yagyu nodded and led the group to the place where the Marine Research Unit was studying Pluton. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally returned to Konoha from the land of the sky. At this moment Sarutobi Hiruzen is sitting in the office with a gloomy face. The cooperation between the countries and the Kingdom of the Sky has been reached. The Kingdom of the Sky provides the countries with scientific research and technology to research advanced new weapons for the world government. However, as a requirement, all countries must cooperate fully. In addition, the most important thing is that the Kingdom of Fire has to cede 300 kilometers of land. Compensation to the empty country. Other countries are naturally happy, but Sarutobi Hiruzen is angry to death. When he learned that Orochimaru actually attacked Konoha with the people of the world government again, his face sank, and he immediately responded. Is there anything else you haven't told me? Sarutobi Hiruzen was biting his pipe, looking at Namikaze Minato and Jiraiya in front of him. He knew that Konoha was so eager to let him come back. There must be something bad to tell in front of a few shadows in the country of the sky. Is it because these people caught the people of the world government? In order to avoid other countries from being afraid of them, they said that they were a little bit miserable? We lost 700 Chunin, 80 elite Chunin, 20 special Jonin, and 8 Jonin in this attack by the world government. Jiraiya gritted her teeth and said in a deep voice. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen had suddenly stood up from his seat. In addition, after the Uchiha Patriarch opened the Mangekyo Bloodwheel Eye, he used the pupil technique for many times, and his pupil power was lost and he became a crippled person. The brother of the Hyuga Patriarch died in battle. Chapter 183 Declare War on the World. Wow. Among the leaves, there was a sudden explosion in the direction of Hokage's office, and everyone subconsciously looked in the direction of the sound. At this moment, the desk in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen has been shattered, documents are scattered all over the place, and everyone's faces are not very good looking. Who else knows about this? Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed the anger in his heart and asked solemnly. Currently only the previous head of the Hyuga clan, and the relatives of the Uchiha clan leader, are aware of it. Jiraiya replied immediately, after all, one patriarch went down and another patriarch's brother died in battle, and it was impossible for their families not to know. Immediately, block the news, no one is allowed to tell the news about this matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, groaned, 233, and continued. Yes. Jiraiya complied and stepped aside, while Sarutobi Hiruzen also turned his gaze to Namikaze Minato. Minato, do you mean that your ability can easily cut Orochimaru in the realm into several sections? Sarutobi Hiruzen also heard about the power of the op fruit used by Namikaze Minato in this battle, and immediately asked. Yes, Lord Hokage, His Highness Yagyu did not lie to us. Namikaze Minato nodded and said softly, Your Highness? Hearing Namikaze Minato's name for Akiri Yagyu, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, but he didn't mean to force Namikaze Minato to change the name. After all, Akiri Yagyu has done so at a young age, and it is already the yearning of the younger generation of the whole ninja world. Object. Advertisement, Minato. You are fully comprehending the ability of op fruit. Flying Thunder God will not train for the time being, and will develop an ageless operation as soon as possible. Jiraiya will immediately gather ninjas in the Land of Fire, ready to be mobilized at any time. After a final moment of silence, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally decided, and orders were quickly dispatched. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to write again, intending to deliver it to Daimyo. Here, Akiri Yagyu came to the area behind the North Mountain of Marine College. It was completely surrounded by several surrounding peaks, and it was impossible to see anything here from the outside. In the middle of this hidden mountain, 2,000-meter scale Pluton warships are leaning against the center. The Pluton warships are like Shinigami from hell. They have dark skin and do not know what materials they are made of, and they are full of strangeness. It was exactly the same as the drawing, with hundreds of cannon holes and a giant war cannon in the center, as if it could rush into the sky. No one doubted what kind of damage this cannon could bring. The size of the giant ship still exudes a heavy and gloomy aura, which makes people face it seriously. Even Shiki, when he sees this legendary ancient weapon, his heart is maddened. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully developing the ancient weapon independently, triggering the follow-up main quest, The Road to Peace. Task requirements. Capture any country in the country of fire, the country of earth, the country of wind, and the country of thunder. Quest completion reward. 4 Emperors World Recruitment Order 1. Randomly recruit a 4 Emperors powerhouse other than Marine. 4 Emperors level powerhouse. Akira Yagyu's eyes narrowed as he looked at the 4 Emperors in the quest reward. His breathing was also one room. Shiki was a ruthless character comparable to the 4 Emperors. Of course, the powerhouses of the 4 Emperors level are very strong, but Akira Yagyu still hopes to have the legendary 4 Emperors, Whitebeard, the strongest in the pirate world, Kaido who is physically invincible, Ant who can target the soul and control lifespan, and always mysterious. Red-haired Shanks who don't shoot easily. His Royal Highness, what do you think? On the left is the actual Pluton you gave us, and on the right we built it ourselves. At the same time, we found that there is enough space inside, and we can try to assemble land mobile devices in the future. Lyle proudly pointed to the 2 giant ships in the distance and proudly asked Akira Yagyu for credit. Can a land action unit be modified? Well, start building the 3rd Pluton right now, and try it out as you see fit. Akira Yagyu was overjoyed when he heard Lyle say that Pluton could still land on land, smiled and nodded, agreeing with Lyle's idea. Advertisement. What, Your Highness, we have been waiting for you to say this for a long time. Your Highness, do you have any ideas? What? Everyone's breathing became heavier, and their eyes were only focused on Yagyu. After preparing for so long, His Highness was finally about to take action. Sicily, Shiki, you two are responsible for the protection of these two Plutons, and it is time for those countries to see our power. Then we will fight against the world, and let the countries in this world understand what kind of enemy they are facing. As a lion fruit capable, Shiki can even fly to the sky, and the actions of the two Pluton battleships are not a problem, but considering the possibility of hostile countries in the future, Shiki alone is not enough. Of course, soldiers, we will declare war on the world, are you ready? Akiri Yagyu nodded, then looked at the surrounding generals, with a sonorous tone and deep and serious eyes. Akiri Yagyu looked at the two giant Pluton battleships and said seriously. All Marines in the entire Sky City, including the students who came out of Marine Academy to meet their families, all bowed to their knees after hearing Akiri Yagyu's voice, and looked in the direction of the Lord's mansion with their heads fiery. Roar. The residents of Sky City saw the scene outside without any hesitation, and immediately knelt down, even the birds and beasts bowed their heads. At this moment, in the entire Sky City, there was no one standing except Akiri Yagyu. Right. Seeing that the crane had assigned the Pluton battleship immediately, he immediately thought of something, and hurriedly asked. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Virgo nodded and replied loudly. 1.3 Akiri Yagyu shouted, and Hokage was released. The sound spread throughout the entire Sky City with Hokage, and the surrounding clouds for dozens of kilometers were quickly scattered. Chapter 184 Marine Combat Power Builds Up. After spending all the money from the purchase of Proverbs and Pluton, Akiri Yagyu's marine force has expanded from 500,000 to 1 million people, of which 300,000 are stationed in the member countries of the world government to maintain domestic security. 200,000 are used to protect the sea continent, and the remaining 500,000 are all adjustable power, and half of them have been successfully implanted into the source of chakra. After possessing chakra, Akiri Yagyu's marine power has been enhanced again, and its physical energy and spiritual energy far exceed that of the native residents of the Hokage world. There are more than 200,000 Marines who have the origin of chakra, and more than 50,000 of them have surpassed genin bodies. Although the strength of the Jutsu ninja will not release ninjutsu for the time being, it is enough. After all, Marines' main advantage is physical fitness. Especially with the addition of Might Dai, Akiri Yagyu ordered all the more than 200,000 Marines who have obtained the source of chakra to practice 8 inner gates. All of them can open the first gate, more than 50,000 people have opened the second gate, and there are nearly 100 people has been able to open the third gate. In other words, if you enter the 8 inner gates state, 500,000 Marines, who already surpass the strength of General Genin Taijutsu ninjas, will directly possess the physical strength to reach the strength of everyone. His Royal Highness, the 8 inner gates are really amazing. Opening the first gate can make my every attack burst out with full force, and opening the second gate can easily remove the fatigue effect after using the life return, which means that it can be used without any problems. Consumed life returned. Looking at Akiri Yagyu, a group of Marine generals were very excited. There were not many generals who could use their lives to return them. They needed the Grandmaster's control over their bodies to become masters. No one hides their secrets, and conscientiously shares all the skills they know with other generals, so that the generals under Akiri Yagyu and those Marine students who have just graduated have a qualitative improvement. At this moment, Orochimaru not only gained the sweetness, but he never imagined that Might Dai, as a mere genin, could actually develop such a powerful ninjutsu. After changing the special body, Orochimaru was able to appreciate the changes after opening the 8 gate. This is a power he has never experienced before. Although it consumes a lot of energy on the body, Marine has extremely advanced medical conditions, even if his arm is broken, can help you reload a few, and then assist by the crane or PX0, and even the scars will not be left. Giant, what's up with the troops? Akiri Yagyu nodded and continued to ask. Report, Your Highness, because of the special size of the giant army, we have developed special concentrated reagents, but due to production problems, only 17 giants, including Saren Vice Admiral, have chakra in their bodies. Advertisement. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's question, Orochimaru hurriedly Kaido. Only 17? Akiri Yagyu frowned. There are hundreds of giants in the giant core, and only 17 giants have chakra. Yes, Your Highness, at present, 17 giants can open the former third gate without injury, and Saren Vice Admiral can open the fifth gate with all his strength. Orochimaru saw that Akiri Yagyu did not seem to be very satisfied, smiled helplessly, and then continued to say, after all, the giants themselves are strong and have a huge chakra source. Chakra conversion is provided, although the conversion usage rate is not very high, but it is enough that they stimulate the acupoints that open the 8 inner gates in the body like those ordinary Marines. Can you open the fifth gate? Hearing Orochimaru's answer, Akiri Yagyu's face changed, as if a little surprised. Turning on the fifth gate of 8 inner gates, the biggest difference is the increase in speed, which is enough to surpass the speed of sound. The usage control in Marine 6 styles only requires a movement speed of about 100 meters per second, but compared to 300 meters the speed of sound in meters per second is still a long way off. Fortunately, the people in Konoha don't know what the 8 inner gates that Might Dai has researched mean, and Might Dai has never taught it to anyone, even his son. He has just been swayed by Orochimaru and the others as soon as he has the idea, brought here. Konoha, Things you don't care about are destined to shine in my hands. Akiri Yagyu sneered inwardly. Advertisement, let those giant troops gather, and I personally go over and plant the chakra source for them. Akiri Yagyu thought for a while, and continued, the giants merged with chakra as soon as possible, and they released the effect of 8 inner gates, but it was countless times more than the ordinary marine. Your Highness, you personally? And all of them? Orochimaru was stunned for a moment, not knowing why. Yes, let's go 233, order all the marines to gather at the port, we are ready to sink. Akiri Yagyu nodded, then turned to Hancock and Taomin again. Yes, Your Highness. The two women responded in unison and immediately backed out, leaving Orochimaru alone to see what Akiri Yagyu just said was not a joke, so he didn't say more, but followed behind Akiri Yagyu, wanting to see what Akiri Yagyu was planning for those giant soldiers planted into the chakra source. Looking at Orochimaru, Akiri Yagyu smiled inwardly, but he didn't explain too much. He now has the bloodline of the Otsutsuki family, and the mellow chakra origin in his body is second only to the brothers Sage of 6 Paths and Otsutsuki Kagaya. The chakra he splits can be directly planted in those giants. Following Akiri Yagyu's order, everyone moved quickly. In addition to the normal classes in Marine Academy, even the troops in Hagia City were all withdrawn. The patrols were organized by the students in Marine Academy. All the generals led the Marines under them to gather at the port of the Sky City. Chapter 185 Goal, the Land of Thunder. Akiri Yagyu took the first group to sink first with the port of Sky City. The port of Sky City is independent. Although it is connected to the land of Sky City, it is not integrated. It is specially used to lift and transport Marine Academy students, Marine teams and defense generals. By the time Akiri Yagyu and the others descended on the sea continent, all the giant troops of Akiri Yagyu had already assembled in the inland waters just below the Sky City. His Royal Highness, the giant troops are all here. Seeing the arrival of Akiri Yagyu, Saren immediately stepped forward and said respectfully. Good. Akiri Yagyu nodded and looked up at the giants who were several times taller than him on one knee. Akiri Yagyu was shocked, and he was instantly wrapped in a light blue chakra coat, which shocked everyone in the next moment. With a flash of blue light, Akiri Yagyu rose into the air and quickly came to the back of a giant clan. Only to see Akiri Yagyu's hand showing, a massive chakra origin as large as a grinding disc appeared in Akiri Yagyu's hand. Then, Akiri Yagyu dragged the source of chakra towards the giant's waist and rib, and pushed it into the giant's body. Then, the giant's body shook, and a terrifying chakra energy quickly reached his limbs and veins, and his body became surging. Compared with before, it was full of vitality. Really infused with chakra roots. Orochimaru watched Akiri Yagyu just breathe, and implanted the chakra source for a giant, and he was surprised and looked at Akiri Yagyu in disbelief. Could it be the bloodline that His Highness merged with? Thinking of Akiri Yagyu's blue-white eyes, he seems to have changed so much. Through the blood-wheel eyes, he can be sure that everything comes from the blood in Akiri Yagyu's body, and Orochimaru has not asked about it yet. Who is the bloodline of the lunar man from His Highness, and why does the white eye turn blue-white after their bloodline merges with the white eye? Thank you, Your Highness, ma'am. The first giant stood up, then turned around and bowed to Akiri Yagyu, buzzing loudly. Advertisement Yagyu ignored it, but came behind the second, and in the same way, pushed the second group of chakra sources into the giant's body, and assisted the chakra in it to quickly travel through the various tendons in the giant's body. The second one is fine. Seeing the second giant stand up, Orochimaru twitched the corners of his eyes, which was much faster than when they were studying the injection of reagents. Then the third, the fourth. Half an hour later, more than 20 giants have been successfully integrated with the chakra origin. Call. Akiri Yagyu let out a breath and fell back to the ground, maintaining Tensigan chakra mode for a long time, planting a large amount of chakra source for these giants, and he could not bear the huge consumption. Your Highness, how are you? Seeing Akiri Yagyu's pale face, he hurried forward. The chakra is still not enough. Akiri Yagyu smiled, although the blood of the ancestor of chakra Otsutsuki was enough to have a surging chakra, but the continuous refining of chakra and a trace of his own chakra origin made him a little overwhelmed. Although the source of chakra can be recovered by itself as long as it is injured too much, but chakra obviously will not recover by itself. Akiri Yagyu said, took out a top-grade military ration from Marine Mall, and spit it out. Life is back. Akiri Yagyu's face condensed, and all the cells in his stomach were mobilized, the food in it was quickly digested, and Akiri Yagyu's physical strength also recovered immediately. Continue. With enough physical energy, Akiri Yagyu started work again. The accumulation of Conqueror's Haki, coupled with the blood of Tensigan and the Otsutsuki family, made him not have to worry about his lack of spiritual energy at all. Only to see Akiri Yagyu quickly enter Tensigan chakra mode again under the horrified eyes of Orochimaru. Advertisement. This reciprocation continued for 4 times, and finally all the giants were injected with the source of chakra. Hundreds of giants who possessed chakra, as long as they practiced a little, can accurately convert the efficiency of master chakra. Report to Your Highness. The 170,000 members of the first-level chakra tactical unit have been assembled. Report to Your Highness. The second-level marine firearms unit, the heavy firepower unit, 20,000 members have been assembled. Report to Your Highness. 1,000 ninjas and 500 modified ninjas have been assembled. His Royal Highness, the 2 ancient weapons on the old man's side are no longer a problem, and the 20,000 marines above are all in place. Orochimaru saw Akiri Yagyu ate a batch of fine military rations again, and immediately regained all his strength, and then he also learned from Akiri Yagyu the secrets of the legendary Otsutsuki Hamura and Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Report to your highness. Level Marine Firearms Unit, Light Firearms Unit, 240,000 members have been assembled. Around the battleship, there were more than 100,000 meter scale large sea kings. They did not appear, but were waiting for the action of the warship above. Report to your highness. 100 pacifists have assembled to fight. Report to your highness. 116 large sea kings have been assembled. However, the news about this side was quickly passed on to various countries. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Report to your highness. The second level Chakra Tactical Unit, 50,000 members have been assembled. Akiri Yagyu is standing in the sea. The giant port in the northernmost part of the upper continent. The densely packed battleships have formed a phalanx, and the battle is full of figures, and everyone is extremely serious. Far away, there are countless noble ships on the sea. They dare not approach this rising wild lion. They can only keep secretly swallowing their saliva with the observation glass. Especially the people of some small countries who were originally captured by the world government. They can imagine that if such a team attacked their country at that time, they would not need to say a word at all. They would surrender immediately and unconditionally. In just 2 days, this overlord team that can sweep any sea area has been assembled, and the majestic momentum spreads throughout the nearby sea areas. Report, your highness. The 2 islands in the outer harbor have scattered all the people, and they have been equipped with sufficient strategic materials. Report to your highness. 128 battleships have been assembled. Report to your highness. The 3rd level Chakra Tactical Unit, 100 members have been assembled. Chapter 186. There will be thunderstorms. At this moment, the country of thunder. 3rd Raikage looked at the ninja in front of him who was in charge of delivering the message in astonishment. Why? Is that guy crazy? It's clearly the nation of fire who's been making trouble for them. When 3rd Raikage heard that Akiri Yagyu was going to take the initiative to attack his country of thunder, he was full of doubts. He clearly did not provoke the other party. Although he had formed an alliance with the country of fire, he wanted to coerce Akiri Yagyu to hand over all his secrets, but isn't this still mobilizing troops and not using force yet? It's really coming towards us. They don't seem to have any plans for a hot country for the time being. The intelligence ninja in front said seriously, and he couldn't express too many opinions. If only Tudai was here. Damn Luo Sha, they're all that be asterisk 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 D. 3rd Raikage sighed, and then remembered Luo Sha with gritted teeth. If it wasn't for the Fire Nation's sudden proposal to form an alliance to suppress the world government, he would have killed the guy long ago. Lord Raikage, what should we do now? Do we need to negotiate with the world government? The intelligence officer looked at 3rd Raikage's gnashing of teeth and asked quickly. After all, people were about to call him now. Negotiate? The 3rd 243rd Raikage sneered. They had formed an alliance to target Akiri Yagyu, and now that everyone has called up, how can there be any good negotiation? Go get ready. Send 3 ships full of detonators to negotiate with Akiri Yagyu, and if they really want to attack us, just crash into their fleet and detonate detonators. 3rd Raikage pondered for a while, then said suddenly. Mifune detonation talisman? If that's the case, then go ninja. The intelligence officer was shocked when he heard 3rd Raikage's order and then hesitated. War always requires people to sacrifice. If they really come to attack the country of thunder, it is not something that can be avoided by the sacrifice of a few people. Advertisement 3rd Raikage took a deep look at the other party and suddenly said seriously. Yes, I'm going to prepare now. The intelligence officer had a straight face and quickly retreated. Akiri Yagyu, I was thinking of waiting for you and the Fire Nation to lose both sides, but I overestimated you. After the intelligence officer left, 3rd Raikage's eyes jumped and he said to himself in a deep voice. The people of the Kingdom of Thunder acted quickly, and the people of the Kingdom of Fire, who had already arranged all the defenses just in case, were even more astonished. What's the matter? You said Akiri Yagyu's army went to the Land of Thunder. Why did he seek farther? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had prepared all the traps and planned to wait for Akiri Yagyu's army to come and wipe them out, was now staring at Anbu in amazement. In the entire East Blue, except for the Holy Land, all the islands under Akiri Yagyu's jurisdiction are integrated together to form a continent, and there are no separate islands on the way, so we have no way to obtain accurate information. The Anbu ninja got down on one knee and said seriously, not saying anything about why Akiri Yagyu was going to attack the Land of Thunder. How many are they leaving? After thinking for a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen continued to ask. There are about 100 warships, and their giant troops also set off together. The exact number cannot be determined, but according to the size of the fleet, more than half of the entire sea continent should be dispatched. The Anbu ninja seemed to know that he would use this information, and without hesitation, replied immediately. Hearing the ninja's answer, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face suddenly brightened. Can we go to the Land of Thunder together? And who are those around Akiri Yagyu? Are there, AFBD, men in kimonos without long blonde hair? Beside, Jiraiya saw Sarutobi Hiruzen's face, suddenly frowned, and asked in a deep voice. Advertisement having brought out so many troops, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the old fox who is closest to him, will definitely take the opportunity to attack. Akiri Yagyu is counting, and he will never inform other countries. Akiri Yagyu can be sure at this moment that it will not be long before the sea continent will usher in an attack, and even he can be sure that it is the land of fire. Seeing the corners of Akiri Yagyu's mouth slightly raised against the sea breeze, Hancock next to him asked curiously, "Your Highness, why are you so happy?" As the Anbu ninja's voice fell, Jiraiya nodded and said towards Sarutobi Hiruzen. Akiri Yagyu's laughter had an inexplicable meaning, which made Hancock and Momosagi both look confused. Because the surrounding islands had been gathered into the sea mainland, when Akiri Yagyu attacked the Land of Thunder and brought 2 islands, the intelligence personnel of various countries were a little shocked, but there were not too many surprises. All the troops were mobilized at once, and Akiri Yagyu was standing on the island at the moment to follow the fleet. Akiri Yagyu brought 2 women, the legendary ninja who could control the sand, as well as the judge of the original martial arts conference, and many generals. The person Jiraiya said was also among them. All the masters are by Akiri Yagyu's side. Okay, well, I thought you Akiri Yagyu was a person, but you are actually looking for your own death to attack the Land of Fire. Quadruple A, I heard that there will be thunderstorms in the sea from the Land of Fire just recently, but I don't know if too many people will die. He even thinks that only Konoha can conquer Akiri Yagyu's lair. At that time, after getting Akiri Yagyu's secret, they don't need Namikaze Minato to grow up, they can completely clear the world. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard Jiraiya's confirmation and immediately said loudly, "Immediately mobilize all the Fire Nation's troops, and order all Konoha shinobi at sea to assemble and attack the sea continent immediately." To say that Anbu's work efficiency is the best in the entire Konoha or each ninja village, and all the news is clear. At this moment, all the known powerhouses under Akiri Yagyu's hands have been transferred, indicating that his base is empty, and of course he will not miss such a good opportunity. Chapter 187 Lei Ying. 2 days later, as Akiri Yagyu expected, the army of the Fire Nation was rapidly marching in the direction of the sea continent. They did not go to the Holy Land, because they knew that the Holy Land was only a place where all the member states of the world government gathered and held meetings, and there was no secret at all. Their goal is Kaden Island, the original lord of Akiri Yagyu in the middle of the sea continent, which is now called the City of the Sky. Although I don't know why it is called the City of the Sky, it can't really go to the sky. Nowhere it's been hidden. With the means that Akiri Yagyu can draw so many islands together, it is of course no problem to change the island where he is. 80 ordinary battleships and building ships, and another 4,000 ninja troops. This time is different from the ninja coalition team led by Jiraiya last time, but entirely by the Fire Country's own power. He is planning to take all Akiri Yagyu all secret. This time, Jiraiya is still leading the team. He is familiar with the road. Sarutobi Hiruzen's idea is very simple. Search for all the secrets in the Akiri Yagyu base as soon as possible, and when other countries arrive, it will be too late. And the country of fire, Konoha, is still the strongest. Other countries in the ninja village will become vassals of the country of fire and Konoha. The Fire Nation can also become the first country in history to unify the whole world. Their generation will be recorded in the annals of history forever. It actually caught up with the thunderstorm, but fortunately, it will reach the sea continent. I am entering the waters near the sea continent immediately, and put everyone on alert. Looking at the gloomy dark clouds ahead, Jiraiya felt a little depressed, and immediately ordered to the surrounding. Yes. All personnel quickly became alert when they heard Jiraiya's words. Advertisement: it is not uncommon for heavy rain to appear at sea, so no one cares about the endless thundercloud ahead, but it is a little unexpected that this time the thundercloud seems to be very thick and low, as if it is close to the top of the head. It will certainly wait until the storm is over, but now they must take down the base where Akiri Yagyu's garrison is now empty. However, looking at the land that has vaguely appeared in front of them, their hearts that were originally afraid of natural disasters calmed down. No one knew that at the moment above the dark clouds, Virgo was appreciating his masterpiece with satisfaction. Blue blue, blue. Virgo Vice Admiral, the enemy is already under the clouds. Suddenly, the phone on Virgo's waist rang, and after answering the call, the voice of the command center staff came from inside. In order to ensure the timely detection of the enemy, Akiri Yagyu built at least 6 reconnaissance command centers around the entire maritime continent, which were specially used for reconnaissance. Movement on the sea. I see. Virgo responded, and the lightning in his hand instantly burned the phone bug into scum, turned over and rushed down the clouds, intending to confirm the exact location of the enemy. Everyone, be careful, the dark clouds today seem a little strange, pay attention to those kilometer-scale behemoths under the sea. Everyone is ready for ninjutsu, and after those giant beasts appear, they will attack directly. This thunder that suddenly appeared in the calm sea broke the calm and startled the sergeants and ninjas who were waiting in the Nation of Fire Army. What's up there? An indescribable aura continued to permeate above their heads, and there was no way out. Jiraiya could only keep urging the fleet to speed up and leave this dark cloud as soon as possible. It is said that the sea should be surging in heavy rain. How can it be so calm today? And those terrifying beasts, they have not appeared yet. Are they all transferred by Akiri Yagyu? Or are those guys afraid of thunder and lightning in a storm? Advertisement: the sudden change in the thundercloud made Jiraiya still a little uneasy. After all, the thundercloud had been silent for so long, and the change was too sudden. Jiraiya glanced at the calm sea around him, like the calm before the storm, which made him a little strange. However, the dark clouds were more than 10,000 meters long, and the sea surface began to be turbulent, and all the sails were dropped, otherwise it would easily be left in this thunderstorm by the rolling sea breeze. Virgo protruded out of the clouds and brought out a thunder light, which streaked across the distance, as if tearing the sky apart. However, after this thunder and lightning, there was no movement, and after those people were relieved, the atmosphere became depressed again. Suddenly, thunder and lightning began to surge in the dark clouds, and wind and waves finally began to rise on the sea. Everything was not much different from normal thunderstorms. Looking at the familiar scene of storms, everyone was inexplicably relieved, but after that, he got a little nervous again. 0. Ask for flowers. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Many people pointed to the sky and murmured loudly, but through the thick dark clouds, they couldn't see what it was at all. For this unknown thing, everyone was full of fear in the depths of their hearts. Affected by the light above his head, he became a little flustered. Factory. Here it is. Glancing at the thunder light and the dull sound of thunder emitting from the dark clouds, Jiraiya kept guessing in his heart. For some reason, the quieter he was, the more uneasy he became, and he even wanted to face the Marines under Akiri Yagyu's hands. It seemed that fighting against Akiri Yagyu's army would give him more peace of mind than the dark clouds in the sky and the calm sea. At this moment, the brightness of the thunderball is almost able to penetrate the dark clouds, and the light above the head makes everyone look at the sky subconsciously. Although the familiar scene reassured them, they immediately began to worry about whether the lightning storm would bring them danger. At this moment, right above the dark cloud, all the thunderbolts that were plucked did not sink, but were constantly converging above Virgo, and a thunderball was constantly getting bigger. At this moment, the diameter had exceeded 100 meters and was even growing. Chapter 188 deprives all perception of thunder. Looking at the light that suddenly appeared above her head, Jiraiya's unease became more intense. Everyone releases defensive ninjutsu. Gritting his teeth, he didn't expect to consume a batch of chakra before approaching the sea continent, but the unease in his heart made him have no choice. Jiraiya shouted, and everyone quickly began to print. It didn't take long for the water channels to be quickly propped up. Although the earth defense effect is the best among the several escape techniques, in this endless sea, it is obvious that the water channel can save the consumption of chakra and increase the release power. The fusion of various water styles, although the release of water styles on the sea can save a lot of chakra, but it is necessary to drag the general method to move with the battleship, which undoubtedly increases the consumption. A few minutes after, 247, the light of the sky continued, and the thunder was still surging in the thunderclouds, but there was no intention of pouring out, but the main ninjas who were in charge of ninjutsu were already pale. Is this just to scare us? Jiraiya's heart sank. From beginning to end, they never encountered the slightest attack. It was their own speculation that made them so embarrassed. Lord Jiraiya, we are about to break out of the thunderstorm. Do we want to cancel the defensive ninjutsu? In the lap of the waves, the fleet was finally about to break out of the dark clouds. Seeing that the sky ahead was already bright blue, a commander quickly came to Jiraiya and asked loudly. Don't do it for now, everyone hold on, and everyone can rest when Lane comes out. Although he knew that the ninjas were working hard, Jiraiya, who had suffered once, did not dare to be careless, because the waves were churning in the thunderstorm cloud just now, and the fleets were already very close at this moment, and there were even several incidents on the way. Ship collision accident. Now if Akiri Yagyu's fleet suddenly appears to attack, they will lose a lot. It is estimated that the fleet is about to rush out of the thunderstorm cloud. The huge thunderball on Virgo's side has risen to the size of a kilometer, and the dark clouds of dozens of kilometers have been completely illuminated. Advertisement. Even Virgo needs to be completely elementalized to be able to withstand the pressure of that huge thunderball. Go with. Virgo snorted lowly and waved his palm down. At the same time, the 100-jong thunderball was quickly swept out by Virgo's palm and sank downwards. The next moment, the thunderball broke through the thundercloud and smashed down from above, and the direction was exactly the position of those fleets. Look, what is that? A reconnaissance ninja felt the brightness increase greatly, raised his head subconsciously, and suddenly all the bones of the body trembled, pointed to the sky, and asked loudly. No need for him to remind, the thunderballs in the sky that can completely dye the sea white have attracted the attention of everyone in the fleet, and they stared blankly at the sudden appearance of concentrated thunderballs with a diameter of 1 kilometer. As the thunderball sank, the humid air was filled with electricity, and everyone's hair was shattered and straightened. The calm sea surface that had just been about to go out boiled again, and countless waves were surging continuously. It is no different from a flat boat, you can only let the waves continue to swing. Even in the process of the thunderball descending, several ships collided again, and countless samurai ninjas fell into the water. A roar made everyone lose all imaginable images in their minds, their eyes were blinded by the strong light, and even their ears were completely buzzing, and they lost their perception of the outside world. Powerful lightning and ultra-high temperature quickly electrolyzed or evaporated the seawater through the humid air, and the lightning quickly spread to all ships like a huge blue long snake. Since GG advertisement seeing the thunderballs descend, as if they were welcoming disaster, the warriors on the ship were all terrified. The ninja or 1.3 samurai on the boat have absolutely no ability to resist under the impact of this thunderstorm. In the thick water vapor, no one can stop the spread of the thunder and lightning, let alone escape from this surging thunderpool. Buzz. The thunderball exploded rapidly, and the explosion enveloped the nearby dozens of kilometers, completely wrapping the fleet of the Kingdom of Fire. Under the shock of the terrifying explosion, some ships were barely able to withstand the impact with enough ninjas on board, but only able to withstand the explosion of the attack, and soon follow-up sustained attack has come. The ninjas could only grit their teeth and support the constantly shaking defensive ninjutsu being beaten by the waves. Lightning seems to come from all directions, from every inch of the skin. The dazzling light and deafening thunder just now made everyone blind and deaf, completely unable to avoid the attack of lightning, and could not even hear the surrounding mourning, subtle in the water vapor. The thunder and lightning caused their skin and senses to be paralyzed. Although they were still standing, they had lost all senses, and they were no different from death. Soon, the lightning ball came down, and the strong light pierced through all the protection. Under the stimulation of the strong light, all the people in the land of fire below subconsciously closed their eyes, but there was still a strong stinging pain that made many people hang up involuntarily. Moaning with eyes. Jiraiya was not sure if he was still alive, except for the beating of his heart. He could not feel the slightest evidence that he was still alive. However, the strong light can still pierce the sea, allowing everyone to determine what is going on outside. Then the ship was quickly ignited, and the entire sea area where the team was built turned into a blue and white thunderpool, and the ships above were like red lotus flowers blooming in the thunderpool, but it also felt like a flash in the pan. Quickly sank into the sea. Finally, the thunderball crushed several warships with a terrifying impact, and after attracting several nearby warships with the strong temperature of friction with the air, it sank into the sea. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. At this moment, blue electric light is blooming on each ship, as if dozens or hundreds of ferocious lightning snakes are entangled on the ship, splitting on the ship in search of prey from the land of fire, and countless samurai and ninjas are flooded with lightning. After that, it becomes coke. Chapter 189. When the war begins, there is no possibility of peace talks. At this moment, as Akiri Yagyu's fleet approaches the waters of the Kingdom of Thunder, there are already 3 ships of the Kingdom of Thunder waiting in the waters of the Kingdom of Thunder. Report: the army of the world government is already approaching. On the 3 warships of the Kingdom of Thunder, all the righteous men of the Kingdom of Thunder were dispatched, and they accepted the mission without hesitation, knowing that they died for the country. Immediately send out a friendly signal, and we approach each other. The officials in charge of the mission immediately greeted them, and the 3 warships began to approach Akiri Yagyu's fleet. As long as they approach Akiri Yagyu's fleet, they will immediately speed up and rush into Akiri Yagyu's array, and then detonate all the detonators on the ship. By then, no matter how strong Akiri Yagyu's army is, it will inevitably suffer heavy losses, and even the entire army will suffer heavy losses. Possibility of annihilation. At this moment, the mobile island where Akiri Yagyu is located. His Royal Highness, there are 3 ships of the Kingdom of Thunder ahead. It seems that they want to discuss something with us. O5. Looking at the 3 ships in the distance, Momoshiki jumped down and said in front of Akiri Yagyu. Your Highness, are we going to let each other over? Kizaru also looked at Akiri Yagyu. Direct attack. The 2 armies are at war, and there is no room for negotiation. Akiri Yagyu didn't even look at it, and directly ordered that no matter what the Kingdom of Thunder was thinking, he could not retreat. This time he even brought 2 islands for supply, because he was determined to take it. The Land of Thunder. The Kingdom of Thunder and the Kingdom of Fire are both not far from Akiri Yagyu's boundaries, but if you rashly attack the Kingdom of Fire, even if you can win it, you will be surrounded by several other countries and fight, and if you take the Kingdom of Thunder, the effect of the surrounding will inevitably surrender to join the world government, which means that only need to capture the country of Thunder, the hegemony of the entire sea will be under the control of Akiri Yagyu. It is believed that there must be many alien beasts in the waters near the Land of Thunder, and Akiri Yagyu's plan is very simple, that is, to control the entire sea and turn the sea into a forbidden area that the fire, earth and wind dare not step on. Yes. Advertisement. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's order, the people around didn't hesitate and responded directly, and the gunholes of all the battleships aimed at the 3 ships of the Kingdom of Thunder. Boom. 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 A series of artillery fire sounded on Akiri Yagyu's battleship, and countless artillery shells smashed over the sky like a swarm of bees that had been startled. Damn. How could it be? I have already sent a friendly signal, why are they still attacking us? The official looked at the shells that suddenly hit the sky, his expression changed, and he exclaimed. But at this moment, no one answered his doubts. The countless shells made it impossible for them to escape at all, and despair was so quickly battered in their hearts. Boom. Boom. 3 ships were buried in the rain of shells, and they didn't even see the marine flag on the Akiri Yagyu warship. The raid plan failed, and soon the team above the port of the Land of Thunder organized a defense. 100,000 samurai hid in the dense forest in the port, and 2,000 ninjas of the Land of Thunder led by 20 Jonin were stationed at the port. The ninjas and samurai of the Land of Thunder are equipped with sophisticated ninja gear, and there are even many scrolls with special ninjutsu runes, and many ninjutsu styles are sealed in them. In the center of the ninja team, there are 2 huge cannons facing the sea. With chakra as energy, they can launch terrifying shots at a distance of hundreds of kilometers. Each charge requires 200 ninjas to release chakra charge. This is the country of thunder, the secret weapon that has been hidden all the time. There is an elite Jonin sitting on the 2 chakra cannons, As the main operator, there are reconnaissance ninjas constantly reporting the situation on the sea at any time. His Royal Highness, we have entered the waters of the Land of Thunder. Advertisement: a marine came to report, making everyone immediately alert. All the fleets disperse and the large Sea King's force attacked first by flipping the tsunami from under the sea. Akiri Yagyu nodded and looked at Kizaru. After all, Kizaru is Marine Admiral, and he should have learned a lot about tactics. Kizaru clearly ordered this. Following the order of Kizaru, more than 100 warships quickly dispersed, and the Sea Kings quickly rushed to the port of the Land of Thunder from the sea. Report Lord Killer B. The local ones have entered the attack range, they are spreading out, request to attack immediately. The port of the Land of Thunder. A scout ninja put Genin with observation glasses, and the chakra in his eyes quickly dissipated, and immediately reported to Eight Tails Jinchuriki Killer B next to him. Dispersed? Immediately look for their supply target to attack? Killer B was also surprised when he heard Akiri Yagyu's army disperse, and then immediately said that wars are always persistent. Since Akiri Yagyu's warships disperse, they will directly destroy their supply system. At that time, Akiri Yagyu will inevitably it is necessary to weigh whether it is 250 or not to continue to attack the Land of Thunder. Following Killer B's order, the two chakra cannons quickly turned their muzzles, and under the command of the reconnaissance ninja, they quickly searched for the target and caused the next attack to cause as much damage as possible. I found it, 12 o'clock. Damn, what happened to the other side's warships? How can they spread out together? Why can they be so fast without relying on the wind and waves? The elite Jonin on the chakra cannon saw the black spots that were quickly dispersing through the observation device on the cannon, and he was also shocked. He was thinking about whether he could take 2 more warships by the way. After hesitating again, Zhang approved one of the larger black spots and immediately moved the launcher. The 2 chakra cannons were fired almost at the same time, and 2 light blue chakra beams shot out from the gunholes of the 2 chakra cannons, and shot towards Akira Yagyu's fleet. Boom. I don't know if it was intentional or not. The 2 artillery attacks landed on the same target at the same time. That target was nothing else. It was a small island where Akira Yagyu intended to deliver supplies. Unexpectedly, it was targeted by the ninjas of the Land of Thunder. Chapter 190 Dispatch Pluton. P.S. The chakra gun that appears here is not the one that hit meteorites after the Fourth World War. It is the predecessor. It is probably the case that the technology has been pushed forward for decades. Boom. The attack beams of the 2 chakra cannons collided with another island brought by Akira Yagyu and immediately exploded on it. The terrifying explosion impacted and pushed the island to the rear for several kilometers. The originally circular island was also destroyed. The bombardment took the shape of a half moon, and Akira Yagyu didn't put too much marine on it, so it didn't cause too many casualties. Hiss. At this moment, the reconnaissance ninjas of the Land of Thunder saw that 2 chakra cannons had almost destroyed half of the island. Even if they knew that it was caused by the weapons on their side, they couldn't help but take a deep breath. Such a terrifying power, if we can mass produce it, we can definitely wipe out all countries. Most of the ninjas saw the power of the chakra cannon in the Kingdom of Thunder for the first time, and they couldn't help being excited. Start charging now. Let those guys see the power of our country of thunder. Killer B, apparently seeing the damage caused by the chakra cannon, laughed and greeted immediately. With Killer B's order, all the ninjas who were prepared around them moved into action, fully converted chakra into the chakra cannon, and began to charge the chakra cannon. At this time, the Sea Kings shot by Kizaru finally came to the deep sea area closest to the port of the Land of Thunder. This, so big, so many summoning beasts. Looking at the hundreds of thousands of large Sea Kings in front of them, the ninjas of the Land of Thunder were suddenly stunned. If a normal Chunin was smashed, it would have been directly smashed to pieces. No matter how big it is, and it can't go to sea, wait until the chakra cannon is fully charged and kill them all, it's a long time. Several commanders of the Kingdom of Thunder saw the huge heads of the Sea Kings at close range, and they were also scared back, and then they reacted and said with a sneer. Advertisement: the ninjas and samurai who were a little disturbed around heard it, and they were relieved again, and everyone was excited again. They wanted to see how these big guys were penetrated by the chakra cannon. Hunting is a passion of many people, not to mention such a huge behemoth. But those Sea Kings didn't want to stand here and let the country of Thunder fight. They glanced at the port, as if to confirm the direction, and then all the Sea Kings turned up their huge bodies at the same time, and the sea was smashed out of a 1,000-meter pit, tight. Then, a 100-meter high wave was instantly aroused, and it turned towards the port. What? All ninjas ready to fire. Seeing the dozens of 100-meter high waves approaching the port one after another, Killer B, the commander-in-chief, was also surprised. Towards the front, spewing raging flames. The flames spewed by hundreds of people gathered and rose up, and they were also nearly 100 meters high, as if they were evenly matched with those huge waves. The flame collided with the waves, and the fusion of water and fire instantly raised a white swell, surrounding the entire port, and everyone fell into a white patch. Send out Pluton and shoot them straight into the mist. Seeing the white mist rising above the port ahead, Akira Yagyu suddenly ordered. Everyone moved again, and the 2 Plutons hanging at the back were driven over, like giants made of pure steel. The displacement and fluctuations caused by the action were enough to make the nearby warships sway continuously, so there was no warship blocking the Pluton. In the same way, it drove directly and unobstructed to the left and right sides of the island where Akiri Yagyu was located. The largest gunhole was aimed at the front, and all the small gunholes shimmered, as if the energy of the entire battleship was converging towards the most central gunhole. Report: the fog is too heavy to locate the enemy. Continuously, the scout ninja kept shouting, and finally came to Killer B's ears. A scout ninja couldn't help but shivered when he saw the dense cannon holes on Pluton and the huge cannon that looked like a patio at the top of the center, and quickly replied. The Kilometer-class giant ship immediately attracted the attention of many people, and the white mist just blown away made everyone extremely surprised when they saw the big guy who suddenly appeared. Advertisement: my lord, it seems to be a weapon of mass destruction. It's just 2 warships. It's impossible to penetrate the defenses erected by so many of us. There are 50 seconds left, and that's when we will fight back. Looking at the giant ship that has gathered 2 groups of bright lights ahead, Killer B is extremely confident. Use wind style. Where's the chakra cannon? Knock those 2 things off. At the same time, 2 giant dark ships on Akiri Yagyu's side appeared on the sea. Killer B was shocked when he heard it and asked immediately. Killer B shouted again, although he is only 18 or 19 years old, but with his super strength, he already has enough prestige in the country of thunder. Hearing Killer B's order in a panic, those ninjas who were in charge of the wind did not hesitate, and the wind blew up quickly, saying that the white mist was blown away. What is that? Report Lord Killer B. The chakra cannon is still charging, and it will take about a minute to complete the charging. As soon as Killer B finished speaking, a professional, Li Hao, reported loudly. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. 1 minute. It's too late. Everyone quickly prepares defensive ninjutsu, persists for 1 minute. 10 seconds later, thousands of ninjas propped up huge earthen walls to surround the entire port. With a frown, Killer B knew that the 2 giant ships couldn't wait for him for 60 seconds, so he ate and drank immediately. Those ninjas who had just released Fire Style and followed the trend immediately joined the other ninja teams, and began to prepare for Earth Style without stopping. The young warrior quickly used chakra to erase the seal runes on the seal scroll, and the ninjutsu in the scrolls were also released quickly. Chapter 191 shakes the country of thunder. 2 Pluton ships, one on the left and one on the right like 2 guards, were parked on either side of the small island of Akiri Yagyu. On the 2 Plutons, the energy on the 2 largest gunholes continued to gather, and the golden light was like 2 bright lights rising from the sea, which formed a sharp contrast with the black Pluton hull below. Because Earth Style was erected, no one knew what was going on at sea, and everyone waited quietly for the attack to come. Buzz. Suddenly, the air in the entire sea suddenly trembled, and the ninjas at the port of the Land of Thunder felt their feet trembling, and their faces could not help but tremble. The sea surface, which had just been affected by the impact of the chakra cannon and the flipping of the sea kings, calmed down in an instant, as if it had been suppressed by a powerful force. Boom! There was a roar on the 2 Plutons, and the assembled beams were instantly released. 200-meter diameter beams blasted out of the Pluton's gunholes. At the same time, the relatively small gunholes around them were also suddenly turned around. At the same time, it emits a light beam and merges with the beam of the main gun. The diameter rises again, exceeding 200 meters, and as the distance continues to stretch, the diameter also becomes larger, like a flashlight, illuminating everything in front of it. The sea surface that the 2 beams passed through 253 times, the seawater was instantly squeezed to both sides by a terrifying force. The squeezed seawater was under the pressure of the sea on both sides, and was pushed back again. The pressure of the beam and the sea pushed the seawater in the middle. Completely squeezed out from the middle, 2 rows of soaring ocean currents, outside the beam, like an underwater corridor dozens of kilometers long. Those marine students who had just graduated, saw these 2 beams of light that destroyed the sky and the earth, and their eyes widened. They couldn't imagine that there would be such a terrifying attack in time. Such an attack, as long as one shot, one can easily destroy an island. And these 2 salvos, it is difficult to imagine what kind of damage will be caused to the port of the Land of Thunder ahead. The beam of light just blinked, and it came to the port of the country of thunder in an instant. At the same time, it brought terrifying coercion. The strong sense of crisis made the ninjas in the port too late to react, and they saw thousands of ninjutsu in front of them. The raised earth wall has been destroyed. There was no time to scream, and there was no time to escape. In an instant, the warriors and ninjas in the port were directly vaporized. The ground and rocks in the port were unavoidable, and they were directly destroyed under this beam. As for the 2 chakra cannons, they were fully charged. Nang can only stay on the number 92, and together with the elite Jonin above, they all disappear into the white light. Advertisement. Boom. The beam directly penetrated the port and pushed it into the mainland. Those warriors who were hidden in the forest inside the port didn't even know what happened, so they also merged into the white light, and the entire tens of kilometers of force was completely destroyed. Only then did the roar reach Akiri Yagyu's ears, dozens of kilometers away. The beam continued to advance, and the strong vibrations and roars quickly spread through the Earth's crust throughout the Land of Thunder, and even the Land of Rain that bordered the Land of Thunder nearly 1,000 kilometers away could feel the turbulent surface of the originally calm lake. All over the country of thunder, the violent shaking caused rocks to roll down, houses collapsed, and even the ground cracked in several cities close to the port. In an instant, the once prosperous towns turned into ruins in the violent shaking. What happened? Inside Raikage's office, Third Raikage immediately stopped what he was doing, looked at the building shaking violently outside, and asked in surprise. I don't know, it seems to be an earthquake, it seems to be in the direction of the southern port. A ninja next to him frowned, closed his eyes and felt it, and then said. Port? Third Raikage's expression froze. There were 100,000 troops and thousands of ninjas stationed in the port. There was such a violent vibration suddenly, which made Third Raikage's face a little unsightly. Report Lord Raikage, we have lost contact with all ninja troops in the port. At this moment, a ninja stumbled in and entered the office. Before Third Raikage could ask, he said nervously. What? The expressions of several older ninja advisors present suddenly change, and they couldn't help exclaiming, how could thousands of ninjas suddenly lose contact? Advertisement, what happened? Third Raikage's face instantly became extremely ugly, he asked in a deep voice. Just a few seconds before the shock, we lost all contact with the ninja troops over there, and they didn't even send any signals. The intelligence ninja shivered and said quickly. Just like a supernatural occurrence, almost in the blink of an eye, all evidence that could prove the existence of the garrison at the port was lost. Immediately summon all the ninjas inside and outside the country of thunder, and quickly ask for help from other countries. Third generation Lei didn't dare to easily judge whether the people at the port were dead or alive, but he had already prepared for the worst at this moment. Although I don't want to admit it, I have to suspect that the shock just now is probably related to the garrison of the port. Cloud Shinobi Village is hundreds of kilometers away from the port of the Land of Thunder, which can affect Cloud Shinobi Village. Third Raikage's eyes are full of eyes, horrified. He is well aware of Akiri Yagyu's terrifying explosives. If Akiri Yagyu really has a lot of things that can explode, it is not impossible to cause such a large-scale shock, but the shock just happened in an instant and didn't last long, which simply does not match the information gathered back by the Cloud Shinobi Village ninjas. Immediately photograph the reconnaissance ninja troop, head to the port immediately, and return with the most accurate and comprehensive information on the phone. In any case, Akiri Yagyu seems to have discovered another secret in Akiri Yagyu's hands, and this trump card is very likely to cause destruction to the country of thunder. Even if he can really block it, it must be heavy casualties. Using the strength of other countries to share some of the casualties for myself. Yes. The scout ninja responded and rushed out without any delay. Chapter 192, Auto-generated chapter title, 192 Fight the idea of tailed beast. Soon, the beam ends from the main gun muzzle. Starting from the front of Pluton, with the disappearance of the beam, the seawater that had been squeezed on both sides also quickly merge, and the seawater that had been squeezed apart on both sides beat together with great force, causing a spray of dozens of meters in the air, which is known to stretch to the port of the country of thunder. To be precise, it can no longer be called a port. The port and the defense force above it have completely disappeared at this moment, and the seawater has poured into it, and just two beams of light hit the Land of Thunder, creating an inland waterway that is hundreds of kilometers long. Naturally, all the sergeants of the Land of Thunder were not spared, and all of them were annihilated by the attack just now along with the port. It's so scary, it's just two shots. Kizaru looked at the damage caused by Pluton in front of him, and couldn't help but said in horror, if this thing can really be mass-produced, it might even be able to directly sink a continent. Akiri Yagyu looked at and nodded secretly. Although the damage was caused, the loss was not small. Don't look at these two attacks, but they consumed Akiri Yagyu's 2 billion taels of silver. What is the concept of 2 billion? A Logia devil fruit is also the price. After all, the attack energy of ancient weapon is not something that ordinary shells can satisfy. As soon as the cannon rings, the gold is worth 10,000 taels. It seems that what they said is true. Let the scientific research team think about it and see if it can be replaced by other energy. Otherwise, it will be too much. Akiri Yagyu frowned, thinking to himself, after all, to him, money is a resource, but he can't stand such consumption. While Akiri Yagyu was contemplating, suddenly the space beside him shook, and then a huge black ball slammed into Pluton after piercing through several battleships. Boom! After the ball hit Pluton, it exploded immediately. The terrifying energy of the explosion did not blow through Pluton, but the force also pushed Pluton sideways for several meters. There are still enemies alive. Suddenly, the alarm sounded, and all the Marines looked in the direction from which the black ball had just come, and found a huge monster standing on the sea in the distance. The monster had a bull's head and was red all over. There should have been 8 octopus-like tails behind it, but one was broken. 8 tails. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu looked at the giant beast, raised his brows, and had some thoughts. Your Highness, I will kill it. Kizaru's eyes jumped and he was about to go out. Shiki, go with you. I want to live. Akiri Yagyu looked at Killer Bee, who had completely transformed into a beast in front of him, but his eyes lit up, and he immediately said something. Yes. In response, Kizaru and Shiki rushed out immediately. Call. 8 tails opened his mouth, and chakra energy quickly gathered in his mouth. What? A golden light instantly rushed into 8 tails' mouth. Boom. The golden light exploded in 8 tails' mouth, and Killer Bee nearly fell over with the pain. Shaking his head, Killer Bee also saw Kizaru and Shiki flying in the sky. Killer Bee didn't know Shiki, but when he saw Kizaru, his face suddenly became solemn. When he was in the ring of the martial arts tournament, he felt that Kizaru was always exuding a pressure. Seeing Kizaru, Killer Bee didn't dare to keep his hand any longer. The tail behind his back quickly wrapped himself up and began to spin rapidly, and soon formed a terrifying hurricane on the sea. The power seemed to pull the surrounding warships into it. Shred in general. But under the terrifying hurricane, Kizaru and Shiki did not move in the sky, as if they were not in the same world. 8 volumes of the tailed beast. Killer Bee's shot is the ultimate move. The hurricane rolled up the sea below, connecting the sea and the sky, as if it was going to involve Kizaru and Shiki together. Slash wave. Seeing the rolled up dragon sucking water, Shiki snorted indifferently. The 2 sword waves up and down gave the water roll hurricane into 3 sections respectively, and the Killer Bee, which turned into 8 tails, was the one in the middle. Laser. Advertisement. Kizaru looked ahead and raised his index finger, and a laser burst into it. Boom. 0. Ask for flowers. A violent explosion roared, and 8 tails was directly blown out of the attack. Akiri Yagyu nodded, glanced at Killer Bee who had passed out, and said lightly, Lion. Thousand Slice Valley. Seeing this, Shiki sneered and swung forward with his sword in both hands. Countless sword waves flew out quickly, hitting Killer Bee continuously, making him cry again and again, but he couldn't break through the siege of 4 lions and attacked Shiki. In the blink of an eye, Killer Bee was already scarred. Boom. His Royal Highness, I have already abolished this kid's limbs, this guy should not be able to escape. Falling back to Akiri Yagyu, Shiki let out a cry, pointing to Killer Bee on the ground. I remember that there should be 2-tailed beasts in the land of thunder. 8 Tails was also surprised when he saw the giant sea lions around him. The 7 tails swayed rapidly, like a big octopus, smashing into the 4 blue lions, hitting the lion's head, splashing a splash of water. Akiri Yagyu murmured and looked towards the land of thunder again, factory. 8 tails, if you bring it back, the energy and resilience in the body should be enough to support a Pluton for continuous combat. Finally, looking at Killer Bee, who was scarred and miserable from 8 tails form, Shiki grabbed his palm, and the 4 sturdy lions quickly rushed towards 8 tails. There was a roar in the sea, and the 4 lions rushed towards Killer Bee respectively. The terrifying impact. Killer Bee also fell into a coma, and withdrew from the tail beast. Bee tied up like a mummy. Well, very good, don't let him die for now, we have to take him back to Orochimaru and them to study. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Lion Majesty. Govern Place Earth Coiling. Shiki took the opportunity to pick up, and 4 blue lions a little bigger than 8 tails quickly rose from the sea and distributed in 4 directions. Boom. Like a dead pig, he dropped Killer Bee on a clearing far away from Akiri Yagyu, and Shiki and Kizaru both fell. Chapter 193. Their battleships are gone. Reporting Mr. Raikage, some of the coalition forces of various countries are currently concentrated in the Land of Fire. Because the sea area is already full of giant beasts of the world government, they plan to come from the land, and it may take at least 3 days to come to support. The intelligence personnel quickly reported the news of various countries to 3rd Raikage. 3 days have passed quickly, but the current situation is still not optimistic. 3 days? How's the port and shore? Any updates? 3rd Raikage had a sullen face. 3 days, as much as he expected. Through the report of the intelligence personnel, he finally understood why Akiri Yagyu would first focus on his country of thunder, and possess those kilometer-scale behemoths. Akiri Yagyu does not have to be afraid that other countries will attack his territory by sea. 263. And now that he has won the country of thunder, he can just use the country of thunder as a springboard to attack the country of fire directly through the land country between the country of thunder and the country of fire, the country of the moon. What a deep heart. 3rd Raikage secretly sighed in his heart, if Akiri Yagyu were from his land of thunder, I'm afraid they would wipe out the whole world now. Over the port, the intelligence officer hesitated and paused. The port has been destroyed by an unknown attack, causing a 100-kilometer-long devastating blow. None of the troops stationed at the port survived. The world government's army is approaching, as if preparing to land. After a moment of silence, the intelligence officer stopped talking. For a time, the entire Raikage office seemed extremely depressed. Thousands of ninjas, what about Killer Bee? 3rd Raikage was like a dying old man at the moment. His face was constantly twisted, looking at the intelligence officer and asked, Lord Killer Bee. No trace of Lord Killer Bee was found. The intelligence officer continued to answer, Hearing the intelligence officer's answer, 3rd Raikage let out a sigh, as if he had lost all his strength, lowered his head, and an indescribable grief filled the surroundings. Even the pedestrians on the street couldn't help but feel inexplicable sadness. Akiri Yagyu, I want your blood to pay. Advertisement. Suddenly, 3rd Raikage's head suddenly lifted, looking forward, his eyes were bloodshot, and he almost gritted his teeth and said word by word. They still need to land, so many troops will not be able to reach us in 3 or 2 days, and we still have time to prepare. 3rd Raikage quickly recovered from his grief, finished speaking with a cold face, and got up and walked out. No, Lord Raikage, we haven't had that long. Just when 3rd Raikage was about to go out, the intelligence officer suddenly changed his face, as if he had heard some great news, and said quickly. Okay. 3rd Raikage paused and turned around abruptly. What did you say? Third Raikage's indifferent expression and words made the intelligence officer's face pale for a while. Gudong, it's the army of the world government, their warships are flying, and they're flying over here. After swallowing, the intelligence officer quickly reported what he had just heard to Third Raikage. What? How is this possible? Hearing the intelligence officer's words, Third Raikage first thought that this was fake news, but at this moment, how could there be fake news? What the hell is going on? Why is this happening? Third Raikage asked angrily why he had never heard that Akiri Yagyu's army could go to heaven. No, I don't know, we haven't received any news before, maybe the city in the sky of world government is really in the sky. The intelligence officer's face changed, and finally he gritted his teeth and said, "Prepare for battle immediately, all personnel are ready, all defensive chakra cannons are activated, and all ninjas all join the battle." 2 hours later, before the Third Raikage's order could be fully conveyed, dense shadows appeared in the sky south of Cloud Shinobi Village. Advertisement, enemy attack. Here they come, enemy attack. Woo, Gudong. The ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village looked at the island with a diameter of hundreds of kilometers and couldn't help but exclaim that before they fought, many people had already retreated. Everyone is ready. Lightning-style thunder chase. With a low shout, everyone burst into tears in an instant, and the thunder light pierced the sky and rushed to the battleship above. Countless thunderstorms hit the battleship continuously, making many people's bodies numb, and some ninjas who do not have the origin of chakra directly have 1.3 large burns on their bodies. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Humph. All secondary chakra tactical units, open the door. With a loud noise, followed by a siren that resounded throughout the entire Cloud Shinobi Village, everyone moved quickly, and the mess below was all aligned with the shadow of the sky. Shiki looked at the thunderlight that kept rising from the ground below, snorted coldly, and more than 100 warships sank quickly, and crashed into the crowd of ninjas. For a time, those ninjas could not dodge, and nearly 100 died of being crushed by the warships. Pressure. All Tier 1 chakra tactical units, open the door. How to fight this? If the big guy falls directly, we can't stop it. Looking at the hundreds of thousands of people in front of them jumping off the battleship, everyone has chakra in their bodies, and they are bubbling with white gas. All Cloud Shinobi Village is blinded. Below, I saw those huge black shadows, and below, an elite Jonin-level captain shouted and led the 1,000 ninjas behind him to quickly raise their handprints. For a time, more than 200,000 people immediately began to emit white gas, and their speed and strength were all increased. Looking at the giant battleships that were at least several hundred meters in the sky, many people kept gulping. Finally, all eyes were on the island at the foot of Akiri Yagyu. How is this going? Chapter 194, The Great Flame World, Emperor Yan. My god! What did I see? The Cloud Shinobi Village ninja couldn't help but look at the figures who kept jumping off the battleship. Gudong, how can the hundreds of giants with green lights on their bodies be so fast? What kind of auxiliary ninjutsu did they use? And those ninjas with 3 or 4 pairs of arms, what the hell is going on? Why can they release 4 ninjutsu at the same time? This is a human-shaped cannon. Damn, what enemies have we met? Where did they all come from? All the ninjas stared at the ninja they had never seen before, especially the group of ninjas led by Ao, all of whom were at least elite Chunin's strength. The comprehensive strength of the ninjas after the transformation of Hokage has more than doubled. For a time, the O5 ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village were all the more terrifying the bigger they were. Dozens of meters high and extremely fast, they can only capture giants who leave afterimages, ninjas who can release multiple ninjutsu at the same time, and those who are covered in white air, whose strength and speed are already comparable to ordinary genin. Soldiers, everything seems to make them know the world again. However, all of this seemed unattractive to Third Raikage. A black lightning flashed, and hundreds of marines were immediately burned to coke. Where's the chakra cannon? Aim at the island in the sky and shoot it down. Third Raikage said, wrapped in thunder armor, knocked a giant back with a punch, and then shouted loudly. Those marines who terrified ordinary ninjas, in the hands of Third Raikage, couldn't last a second. Ding. Trigger the side quest. Go into battle to kill the enemy. Task requirements. Ask the host to go into battle in person and kill the enemy without the help of outsiders. Task reward. It is distributed according to the strength of the host to kill the enemy. Killing Raikage will reward random lottery times +1. Killing Raikage and Churiki will reward Advanced World Recruitment Order 1. Killing Jonin will reward Pacifist 1. 3 kinds of the task reward amount can only choose one of them. Do. Akiri Yagyu looked at the mission requirements, and Chunin couldn't help but scolded inwardly. Compared with the previous targeted poverty alleviation, this guy's mission seemed to be much more difficult. Advertisement at the same time, Akiri Yagyu also understands that his strength improvement during this period is not enough. But speaking of random draws, should I have another random draw? Looking at the quest rewards, Akiri Yagyu suddenly remembered that the random lottery numbers he had used when he captured the Land of Water had not been used until now, so he quickly opened his lottery panel. Sure enough, next to the lottery panel, there is a lottery number 1 displayed there. System, I want to start the lottery now. Akiri Yagyu admired himself for having such a good thing, but he didn't even think of it until he saw the system task. Ding. Random rewards are being drawn. With a prompt from the system, the light curtain in front of Akiri Yagyu began to change rapidly. Ding! Randomly draw the skill, Great Flame Ring Yandi. The system's prompt made Akiri Yagyu have a series of question marks in his mind. This is Fire Fist Ace's skill. Isn't this Devil Fruit's ability? Can it be learned as a skill? Akiri Yagyu's mind was full of questions now. Seeing that the system went silent, there was no answer, so he opened the inventory by himself, and there was a red book lying in it. Great Flame Ring Yandi creates several circles of huge spiral flames and releases the Great Flame Ring. The resulting flames gather into a fireball similar to the sun and throw them at the opponent. The power depends on the degree of gathering. Incidental effect: after learning, ignore the burning of the flame, non-elementalization. This skill is not unique, and does not affect the realization and release of the fruit's ability. After seeing the introduction on the item, Akiri Yagyu's eyes jumped up. It should be the same as the previous King's Fist and 36 Troubled Winds. Is it a welfare treatment for the host? I chose the skill of the Great Yanji Yandi, and chose to use it without hesitation. What? Advertisement in an instant, the mountain, along with the chakra cannons inside and hundreds of ninjas, were all chopped into pieces, as if they were weightless. The movement of the mountain also attracted the attention of many people. The ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village saw countless stones floating in the sky, and they all looked shocked. Among the ninja crowd at Cloud Shinobi Village. Inform Kizaru, you and Shiki will take care of those elite ninjas, Momosagi and Hancock. The Irway will be handed over to you, and you will also have to live. An embracing golden light shot out from in front of Kizaru, hitting the green chakra beam below. Flash pulse. A strong sense of crisis rose in Akiri Yagyu's heart. Boom. 267, Lions, Thousand Slice Valley. Kizaru seemed to have expected this long ago, and a golden light flashed below the island. After that, his gaze turned to the third Raikage, who was wrapped in a thunderous armor, and Akiri Yagyu's eyes showed a malicious look. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Akiri Yagyu glanced at Jinchuriki, the second tail of the harvesting marine, which was flickering below, and after Akiri Yagyu finished speaking, he jumped off the island. At the same time, a huge beam of light from the chakra cannon that had been prepared outside the Cloud Shinobi Village Raikage office building shot towards Akiri Yagyu's feet. At the same time, Golden Lion also rushed out, sneered at the chakra cannon below, and quickly moved Sakura Shi and Muku with both hands, and countless golden sword waves rushed towards the mountain below. Gold and green collided, making a loud noise. Chakra cannon collided with Kizaru's golden light, and the surrounding space was constantly distorted. After watching all this, the Great Yanji Yandi has also been kept in mind by Akiri Yagyu. The next moment, Akiri Yagyu's body rose up with heat, and immediately, Akiri Yagyu felt that the surrounding air was extremely cool. Chapter 195: The Power of Truth-Seeking Ball. Call. With a muffled sound, Akiri Yagyu's figure fell, and now he has entered Tensigan chakra mode, wrapped in a light green chakra coat, surrounded by several light green balls, circling around Akiri Yagyu. Akiri Yagyu, my Kingdom of Thunder has never had anything to do with you. Why are you attacking us? At this moment, Third Raikage's face was gloomy. Akiri Yagyu's appearance broke his platter layout, and every time he prepared all plans to become tasteless, making him extremely annoyed. The constant disputes and battles of several major countries over the years have resulted in countless people living in dire straits. I want to unify this world and permanently cut off this unnecessary war. Akiri Yagyu looked at each other and said lightly. Want to stop the strife? Akiri Yagyu, you are too self-righteous. The greed of human nature is far beyond your imagination. However, since you are here to die, then you should make up your mind. If you kill you and take your secrets, I will help you fulfill your last wish. Originally, Third Raikage, who was so angry that he wanted to smash Akiri Yagyu to ashes immediately, now sees Akiri Yagyu again, but it is surprisingly calm. After Third Raikage finished speaking, without waiting for Akiri Yagyu to speak again, he rushed towards Akiri Yagyu. What? An arc of light appeared on Third Raikage's body, as if it had turned into lightning, and he quickly came to Akiri Yagyu with a cracking sound behind him. Hell Assault 4 books. Third Raikage stretched out 4 fingers, and with extremely indifferent eyes, came towards Akiri Yagyu's heart. His speed is very fast, and it is impossible for ordinary people to resist, but under the perception of Akiri Yagyu's intermediate observation Haki and Tensigan, no matter how fast the speed is, he can still catch traces. Paper Arts, Long. Seeing that his fingers were able to pierce Akiri Yagyu's heart, he suddenly heard a soft sound from Akiri Yagyu. Advertisement immediately after he saw it. Akiri Yagyu's body quickly deflected and contracted at an unbelievable angle, making him feel like he was attacking a goose feather. Before he could hit the opponent, the air entrained in the attack had already blown the target away. Are you spying on my mind just now? It seems that you have foreseen my attack tricks in advance. Third Raikage looked at Akiri Yagyu and said in a deep voice, after so many fights, ninjas from all over the world have probably learned a lot of secrets about Akiri Yagyu's strong men, and the people under him are able to pre-attack judgments in advance. There's no reason Akiri Yagyu couldn't do it. That's right, so what are you going to do as Third Raikage? Akiri Yagyu did not deny that, as the strongest ninja in the body, if he suddenly said such words, maybe he already had a way to deal with it. However, you can also catch attacks that exist, and you can't perceive attacks that don't exist. Third Raikage continued. So, Akiri Yagyu still looked at each other lightly, and did not admit that the other party's guess was right or wrong. So try this trick. The strongest in history. The lightning-style chakra code on Third Raikage's body quickly became restless, and Third Raikage's extended 4 fingers also retracted 3. Hell stab 1 stop. Third Raikage's fingers were wrapped in blue chakra armor, and the fingers were like a thundergun, piercing the air ahead, and stabbed towards Akiri Yagyu at an imperceptible speed. The fingers stabbed, and then there were bursts of air explosions. If Akiri Yagyu relied on the airflow on his fingers to avoid just now, he would definitely be hit hard by the turbulent airflow around his fingers in the next moment. And Akiri Yagyu obviously did not intend to use paper arts continuously. With the action of Third Raikage, the special truth-seeking ball condensed by several tensigen around Akiri Yagyu quickly stood in front of Akiri Yagyu and blocked the vital part. Although it relies on the truth-seeking ball made by tensigen, it already has all the abilities of the truth-seeking ball. The next moment, Akiri Yagyu quickly pushed Tensegen's repulsion, pushing himself backwards. Advertisement. Not good. Looking at the truth-seeking ball glowing with green light, a strong thought in Third Raikage's mind warned him not to touch it. However, the attack had already been launched, and it was impossible to withdraw it. Third Raikage could only use the chakra energy in his whole body to gather it on his fingers, but the crisis still did not weaken. Third Raikage's fingers quickly came to the truth-seeking ball. The lightning-style chakra wrapped around his fingers didn't play any role, but quickly flowed across his fingertips and was quickly wiped out by the fairway. Then, Third Raikage's fingers easily passed through the truth-seeking ball, and rushed over with the entire right arm. The truth-seeking ball was intact, and all the places where Third Raikage's right arm had come into contact with the fairway jade disappeared completely. What? This? How is this possible? The arm was directly pierced by the small truth-seeking ball. Third Raikage seemed to have seen a ghost, and he still couldn't believe that his body was pierced directly like this. What is this? Immediately afterwards, Third Raikage was covered in cold sweat, turned around quickly, and found that the truth-seeking ball was still parked there, as if it was fixed in the air. Akiri Yagyu didn't answer, just looked at Third Raikage flatly. His eyes fell on Third Raikage's arm. Is the power so powerful? It's a pity that I can only make this thing reluctantly, and I can't use it flexibly for the time being. Akiri Yagyu was also taken aback when he saw that truth-seeking ball had easily pierced Third Raikage's arm. Akiri Yagyu didn't show any expression, which made Third Raikage's face sink, but then looked at Akiri Yagyu with pity in his eyes. How? Akiri Yagyu was stunned, and then he noticed a sudden bright light above Raikage's office in the distance. Inside the movie office building of Cloud Shinobi Village, there is a chakra cannon hidden in it, which runs straight down towards Akiri Yagyu from top to bottom. Chapter 196 Absorb, Chakra Beam. After Hancock and Momoshage left after Akiri Yagyu, they quickly followed the instructions to find Fudao Jinchuriki, who had turned into Shinigami in Marine. Slave Arrow. Two Tails Jinchuriki had just wiped off a Marine's neck while holding kunai, and was about to look for the next target, but found a pink arrow rapidly shooting towards him. What? Although he didn't know why the arrow looked like this, he didn't dare to resist. He quickly dodged and avoided it sideways. And the arrow hit a corpse at his feet, and the corpse instantly turned into a stone statue. What a strange ability this is. Watching a body turn into a stone statue, the two Jinchuriki 2 from Wooden Golem were also taken aback, and they quickly searched for Hancock, who was drawing a bow again in the distance. It's a woman. The two of them were moved by Wooden Golem's heart and quickly rushed out. At the same time, they quickly wrapped a layer of chakra's code around their bodies, and two tails immediately grew behind them. The two tails were also like fists, stabbing towards Hancock from behind him. Draw the knife. Suddenly, Momoshage emerged from behind Hancock, and suddenly pulled out the famous swords from his waist towards the two rushing wooden golems, and 267 quickly slashed out from the blade with a slash like a huge crescent. Seeing Momoshage's sudden attack, the two from Wooden Golem sneered, their tails twitched, and their bodies immediately shook in the air, just avoiding Momoshage's sword attack. Momoshage's face sank as he watched his attack being dodged. Chakra covered the scabbard, evaded under his feet, and a blast of air exploded, instantly blocking it. Kong. Two pairs of wooden golems were hit by Momoshage's blade and scabbard respectively, making a crisp sound. Seeing that the two came to him from Wooden Golem, Hancock immediately threw his long legs out. Perfume femur. The snow-white thighs instantly kicked on the tails of the two wooden golems. Advertisement. The next moment, the place where the two of them were touched by Wooden Golem's half-tailed beast-like tail immediately turned into stone and shattered in an instant. Then, Hancock's second kick followed. What? When they saw that they were attacked by the opponent, they would turn into stones and shatter on the spot. The two of them, Wooden Golem, did not dare to resist, exclaimed, and quickly pushed them away. When in the air, the two-tailed Wooden Golem changed again, and the reminder quickly became larger. After the end, it turned into a two-tailed cat demon with a reminder of more than 10 meters. The two-tailed cat demon landed, and immediately began to condense the black-tailed beast bomb in his mouth. Oops. Once the tailed beast bomb is formed, no one can resist it, and there are more than 10 warships behind the two. If it is destroyed, the loss will not be small. Just when the two were about to fight hard, they found a huge figure with a green glow appeared behind the cat demon. Under the shadow of a cat demon that is more than 10 meters tall, it looks like a little pig. It's Saren Vice Admiral. Seeing that figure, Momosagi immediately became overjoyed. I saw Saren grabbed Erwei's two tails and twitched it directly. Then, holding Erwei's tail, he smashed directly at the position of several ninjas of the Land of Thunder beside him. Boom. 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 The two-tailed cat demon, which was more than 10 meters tall, was being beaten to the ground continuously in Saren's hands. His movements were so fast that even his voice could not catch up with his movements. The constant thumping sound made a strange roar. In the end, Saren let out a low roar and paused in midair while holding the two-tailed cat. Boom. The earth trembled, and a burst of smoke was thrown up, and the ground where the two-tailed cat was directly smashed sank, and a large circular crack appeared, and, AFBD, it also returned to its human form. Advertisement, but at the moment, no one cared about what Erwei Jinchuriki was like now, but was attracted by the light that suddenly flashed in the distance. Everyone was shocked when they saw that the light was coming from an attack and that the target was Akiri Yagyu. Your Highness is in danger. Seeing the terrifying beam of light hitting Akiri Yagyu, the ninjas in the Land of Thunder were really excited, their eyes widened, looking forward to the moment when Akiri Yagyu, the culprit, was wiped out in the beam. Seeing that the chakra energy beam released by the gathering of hundreds of ninjas' chakra was actually absorbed by Akiri Yagyu, everyone had a horrified look on their faces. Third Raikage looked at Akiri Yagyu with pity in his eyes. If they didn't come to find him in person, maybe their Kingdom of Thunder would really fail. Seeing that Akiri Yagyu was indeed laughing, Third Raikage was shocked. Damn. How can this be? One Jonin was slashed with one knife. Shiki's expression changed, and a slash wave quickly swept toward the chakra beam again. What happened? All the generals trembled and rushed towards Akiri Yagyu, and Kizaru, who was radiating radiation, quickly turned into a golden light and rushed out after seeing that the attack was aimed at Akiri Yagyu. Akiri Yagyu was unmoved by the horror of the ninjas in the Land of Thunder. He was relying on Tensigen to absorb this pure chakra. Tensigen itself can absorb the chakra in ninjutsu. If it is such a large-scale ninjutsu, Akiri Yagyu may not be able to dare to resist easily. Immediately afterwards, Third Raikage actually saw Akiri Yagyu smiling, and yes, he was smiling. Oh, go to hell. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Seeing the chakra beam getting closer and closer to Akiri Yagyu frowned. However, pure chakra on such a large scale, to Akiri Yagyu, is like perfectly pure tap water and doesn't even need to be filtered. However, Third Raikage was really excited. As long as Akiri Yagyu was killed, then all these people would lose their backbone. By then, everything would be lost. Although one of his arms was destroyed, he still had another, and he was confident that he would add more. There are so many weapons in the Land of Thunder, but the secret of Akiri Yagyu. Everyone looked at Akiri Yagyu and watched him raise his hand. The green light all over his body became even more dazzling, and the huge chakra beam with a diameter exceeding Akiri Yagyu's height began to shrink rapidly in Akiri Yagyu's palm, as if he was being caught. Absorbs quickly. Chapter 197. No one left. Under the gazes of countless people, Akiri Yagyu directly absorbed the chakra beam released by the chakra cannon, and there was no bad change in the whole person after that. Even the chakra consumed by Akiri Yagyu for entering Tensigen chakra mode was quickly replenished. Why is that? Third Raikage's eyes widened at the moment. Looking at Akiri Yagyu in horror, he really couldn't figure out how Akiri Yagyu did it. Akiri Yagyu felt the surging chakra in his body, nodded in satisfaction, and then looked towards the Third Raikage in front of him. What does this guy want to do? Seeing Akiri Yagyu's unkind gaze, Third Raikage also felt a little drum in his heart. This guy just absorbed hundreds of ninja chakras. To be on the safe side, Third Raikage quickly entered lightning-style chakra mode again, covered with blue thunder and lightning. On Akiri Yagyu's side, his hands were gently spread. Buzz. Dozens of annular flames instantly formed around Akiri Yagyu, gradually expanding, and the area with a radius of more than 100 meters was completely reduced to a sea of fire. And Akiri Yagyu was in the sea of flames, as if he didn't feel anything, and he was wrapped in green Tensigen chakra, so that those flames couldn't even hurt his clothes. What is this? Is it fire-style ninjutsu? Seeing Akiri Yagyu bathing in the sea of fire, the ninjas of the Land of Thunder asked in surprise. As for Third Raikage, the flames rose up after that, quickly swept through the center of Akiri Yagyu's hands, and while it continued to condense, his face became more and more solemn. The flames continued to condense, and soon formed a huge milky white flaming sphere of light. The huge Yandi fireball had extremely high temperature, and the ninjas in the distance could feel the gouache on their bodies rapidly evaporating. Quick! Prepare the water! Advertisement. A Jonin looked at the raging flame world, and immediately shouted, and the nearby ninjas began to quickly prepare the waterway. Look at me! On the side, Crocodile looked at the ninjas, laughed, his hands sank into the ground, and the ground began to crack open, and the place other than Akiri Yagyu and Third Raikage quickly began to turn into yellow sand, pulling the ninjas to sink quickly. Some of them release water style, and they will be stopped directly by a huge desert palm of Crocodile. This is called Great Flame World, Emperor Yan. Looking ahead, Akiri Yagyu let out a low voice, grabbed the huge white flame ball in the air and ran directly towards Third Raikage. Although Crocodile intervened in those ninjas, there were still many ninjas behind Third Raikage, because he couldn't affect Akiri Yagyu's battle, and he couldn't release the yellow sand that controlled too much. Seeing that those people were still gathering water-style ninjutsu, Akiri Yagyu obviously didn't want the other person to interfere with him, and his eyes widened, and a terrifying aura was instantly released from Akiri Yagyu. Buzz. That terrifying aura came out from Akiri Yagyu's body, as if it were real, causing the air to tremble for a while. There was an inexplicable humming sound in the air, and even the clouds condensed in the sky were under this terrifying aura. Disappeared by the shock, the entire sky turned blue as far as the eye could see. At the same time, on the battlefield with a radius of 10 kilometers, all the ninjas below Jonin and Marine were all overwhelmed by this terrifying momentum, rolled their eyes and fainted. How is this possible? Why is there such a large-scale illusion? Jonin, who was not in a coma, also endured the shock in his heart and looked at Akiri Yagyu in horror. In an instant, so many people were overturned, and it was wrong. What kind of terrifying ability is this? The 8-armed ninja who can release 4 ninjutsu at the same time, the giant dozens of meters high grabbed her way and fell to the ground. The chakra beam condensed by hundreds of people was absorbed by one person, and now there is a thought that shook tens of thousands of people. The ninjas of the Land of Thunder once thought that they had fallen into illusion. Even Third Raikage, facing the flames that seemed to melt the heaven and the earth, combined with Akiri Yagyu's imposing manner of the coming of the tyrant, couldn't help but tremble when he saw Akiri Yagyu's indifferent face. Come on! Looking at the huge flame that was getting closer and closer, Third Raikage knew that he couldn't step back. Once he did, all the ninjas behind him would be buried in the sea of fire. 0. Ask for flowers. After all, their number of ninjas is not comparable to Akiri Yagyu's army of hundreds of thousands, and he can only carry it hard. Advertisement. I saw that the fist of his left hand shrank, leaving only one finger, and cut it towards the front. Glancing at the unyielding ninjas, Akiri Yagyu just left 4 words and turned to leave. Factory. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The flames shook and spread out quickly. The ground was covered with crimson lava, and Third Raikage's body had disappeared into the lava. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's voice, those ninjas who were still resisting looked at the lava pit in front of Akiri Yagyu and their expressions changed. What? Lord Raikage. The next moment, the fiery flame enveloped it. Akiri Yagyu also grabbed the flame, did not let the flame ball rush out, and was known to envelop Third Raikage in it. Your Third Raikage is dead. The 2 Jinchuriki have been captured, and the strong ones have been sniped, giving you a chance to surrender and become our vassals. Without the suppression of the strong, almost all the ninjas in the Land of Thunder were filled with anger and roared towards Akiri Yagyu. Not one left. Seeing that Third Raikage was completely engulfed in flames, the ninjas behind who were not shaken by Akiri Yagyu's haki all cried out in surprise. Seeing that Third Raikage, together with the place where it stood, turned into a huge lava crater, Akiri Yagyu raised his head, the repulsion won under his feet, and he rose into the air, running haki in his tone, and said towards the bottom. Those who dare to resist will slaughter the whole family, leaving no chickens and dogs. Buzz. The flames continued, burning and melting the ground, as if it had turned into a lava field. The terrifying high temperature made the lava unable to cool down, constantly burning everything around it. Damn, you devil, we would rather die than surrender. The ninja coalition of other countries will definitely avenge us. The flames continued for 10 minutes, and Akiri Yagyu's physical strength was approaching its limit. Many wanted to rush up, but were immediately forced back by the high temperature. They wanted to release the waterway, but were immediately surrounded by Akiri Yagyu's eyeing men. Sir Raikage, Chapter 198 4 Emperor's Recruitment. Cloud Shinobi Village was captured by the army led by Akiri Yagyu. Third Raikage was killed. Cloud Shinobi Village was slaughtered. The news quickly spread all over the world, and everyone was taken aback by the news, subconsciously disbelieving it, but then they received new news. All the nobles in the Kingdom of Thunder who had contact with Cloud Shinobi Village were exterminated and beheaded, and the military power of the Kingdom of Thunder was taken over by Akiri Yagyu's army. Just when everyone was doubting whether it was true or not, the second news was like a bomb, sinking into the daimyo prefecture and ninja village in various countries. His Royal Highness, the world government has sent an invitation letter to member states, and we will pay a security deposit of 20 billion taels and disband all the troops. The countries bordering the Kingdom of Lei became panicked because of the destruction of the Kingdom of Thunder, and the Kingdom of Moon even received an invitation letter from the world government on 270. What? 20 billion? And to disband all the troops? After hearing this, the name of the country of the moon suddenly changed. No, it's impossible. You tell him, Akiri Yagyu, we can't do what he wants. I'd rather join the coalition forces of various countries to jointly punish the devil. The daimyo of the Moon Kingdom resolutely refused, without any idea of negotiating. This kind of thing also happened in the daimyo mansions of various countries such as the Kingdom of Eggs, the Kingdom of Chi, and the Kingdom of Rui. Akiri Yagyu is sitting in the Raikage office in the Cloud Shinobi Village Raikage office building in the Land of Thunder. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the side quest. Fight in person. Mission completion. Kill the third Raikage without the help of outsiders. Task completion reward. Random number of draws 1. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission, conquering the great powers. Mission completion. The fall of the Land of Thunder is complete. Quest completion reward. 4 Emperors level designated World Recruiting Order 1. Akiri Yagyu's side had just completed the mission, and before he had time to check it out, Marine who was sent out came in. Reporting, Your Highness, only one of the 6 countries surrounding the Land of Thunder agreed to join the world government, disbanded all the armies in the country, and sent people to send all the wealth in the treasury. Advertisement as soon as the Marine General came in, he said respectfully. In addition, those countries that refused all chose to join the coalition forces of several other major powers. After a pause, the General Marine continued. Don't worry about them, privately contact the nobles of those countries, there should be many people who hope to use our strength to help them rise, right? Akiri Yagyu was not annoyed at being disturbed, smiled faintly, and then said that he has no one under his command who can manage the politics of the world, and he has no plans to train him. As long as he controls the big names and nobles of various countries, it will be enough. Yes, I see. After listening to Akiri Yagyu's words, the Marine was suddenly stunned, responded, and immediately retreated. No one bothered anymore, and Akiri Yagyu sank into the inventory again. In the inventory, a golden recruitment order appeared in one of the frames. 4 Emperors level World Recruitment Order. Randomly select any one of the 4 Emperors level non-marine powerhouses. System, I want to use the 4 Emperors World Recruitment Order. Without hesitation, to suppress the tension and excitement in his heart, Yagyu immediately chose to use it. Although he was also a 4 Emperors rank, Akiri Yagyu was not so excited when he recruited Shiki. Ding. Use a 4 Emperors level World Recruitment Order and start recruiting now. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully recruiting 4 Emperors, BIGMOM, Charlotte Linlin. Immediately afterwards, a light curtain appeared in front of Akiri Yagyu. Name. Charlotte Linlin. Title. BIGMOM. Race. Human. Rank. None. 4 Emperors, Dao Strength. 22,700 abilities. Soul Fruit, Strange Sound, Strange Power, Tough Body, Conqueror's Hockey, Advanced, Observation Hockey, Advanced, Armament Hockey, Advanced. Advertisement skills. Soul Spell, Soul Incarnation, Soul Infusion, Soul Deterrence, Elbaf's Spear, Mighty Kingdom, Emperor Sword, Broken Blade. Weapons. None. Not long after, BIGMOM came to Akiri Yagyu, and even Akiri Yagyu didn't react. Suddenly, BIGMOM seemed to be blown up and slammed into the void. BIGMOM glanced at the western sky with some regret, and then asked Akiri Yagyu. Leaving Wangchen? I have seen Your Highness. Yes, Your Highness, it is the soul of an old ghost, he is spying on you. It seems that he should have lived for many years, and his soul is very special. I don't know why Ju 1.3 can leave Wangchen. Somewhere, Akiri Yagyu seemed to hear a muffled groan. BIGMOM's hand also had a white lifespan, and there were several black afterimages in the palm of the other hand. BIGMOM nodded and told Akiri Yagyu all of his findings. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Akiri Yagyu was stunned. After death, people in this world seem to go to the paradise of Elysium. If those souls are sent to Wangchen, they will never come back. Right, Your Highness, this is the 1,000-year lifespan of the man I captured, and his soul was also injured by me. In a short period of time, the old ghost should not be able to recover. Your Highness, are you all right, bold, little thief? Akiri Yagyu waved his hand, and suddenly asked curiously. It seemed that BIGMOM was not only able to detect the existence of that person, but also severely injured the other party. BIGMOM came to Akiri Yagyu and knelt down on one knee, but the huge body still needed to be looked up by Akiri Yagyu. Humph, I'm fine, can you spot the person spying on me? Before Akiri Yagyu could speak, the next moment, the feeling of snooping resounded in Yagyu's heart again. BIGMOM suddenly thought of something, and quickly dissipated the 2 groups of things in both hands, the black ones, and another group of white life larger than Akiri Yagyu was sent to Akiri Yagyu. Chapter 199 is targeted by 6 paths. With a lifespan of thousands of years, being able to enter and exit the pure land of bliss, with such a powerful soul, it should be that guy from 6 paths. Looking at BIGMOM's abundant life expectancy, Akiri Yagyu said to himself. The number of lifespans is linked to the strength of the soul. Suddenly, thousands of years of lifespan are drawn out. Ordinary souls are directly wiped out and cannot provide so much lifespan. The only ones that can satisfy it and not disperse are only Sage of 6 paths. That guy is out. However, Akiri Yagyu is also a little surprised. BIGMOM can draw out thousands of years of life at once. This ability should be invincible. His Royal Highness, because the other party is a soul body, and he is not willing to take any precautions, I will catch so many lifespans all at once. BIGMOM seemed to see Akiri Yagyu's doubts and explained it immediately. Hearing BIGMOM's words, Akiri Yagyu suddenly realized that in the pure state of soul, facing BIGMOM is like a samurai who has lost all defenses. Any attack can cause damage to it, especially facing BIGMOM. Even Sage of 6 paths, there is also no room for resistance in the state of the soul. His Royal Highness, what about the 1,000-year lifespan? The ant glanced at the white lifespan in her hand, and saliva flowed out of her mouth. You eat it. Akiri Yagyu glanced at the ant strangely. He knew that if this guy was hungry, he would go crazy. Although he didn't know if the system had corrected this bad problem for her, Akiri Yagyu still didn't want to try it easily. After all, if the 4 Emperors level is going crazy, even if he doesn't know what to do with him, his hundreds of thousands of Marines will probably be burped. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, Auntie swallowed the 1,000-year lifespan in her hand without hesitation. Akiri Yagyu clearly saw that Auntie's body was swollen again. A 1,000-year lifespan, if thrown into a person, is almost the same as immortality, but I don't know how long it will be enough for the ant to last without being hungry. No, I need to find a way to provide life for the ant, and let her help strengthen the souls of those generals for a long time. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu looked at the ant and thought to herself, after all, lifespan is linked to physical energy and mental energy. Although it does not increase physical strength, if lifespan increases, mental energy should be stronger. His Royal Highness, the 2 Jinchuriki in the Land of Thunder have awakened, and are now using tranquilizers to prevent them from entering the state of tailed beasts again. Crocodile walked in and looked surprised when he saw the ant. He could feel the terrifying pressure on him from the ant. The two nodded politely to each other, and then Crocodile reported to Akiri Yagyu. Take me there. Momosagi, you go and prepare, we are going to return. Akiri Yagyu got up from the seat and said something softly. Yes. Momosagi nodded and watched Akiri Yagyu's eyes flash with a hint of frenzy. It only took less than 5 days to capture a big country, and 3 of them were spent on the road. Such a record, whether it is the pirate world or this Hokage world, has never been before. Akiri Yagyu followed Crocodile directly to one of the Pluton ships. The reason why the Pluton battleship is so large is that it is also equipped with a prison area. Akiri Yagyu followed Crocodile into it, and the 2 subsequent prisons were covered with yellow sand. 8 Tails and Jinchuriki of Erway were imprisoned in the sand respectively, only their heads were exposed outside the sand. Hearing the movement, Killer Bee and the 2 from Wooden Golem raised their heads decadently, glanced at Akiri Yagyu, and suddenly their pupils shrank. Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village, 3rd Raikage-sama, how's it going? To Zhao Hao. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, the 2 from Wooden Golem laughed disdainfully, but Killer Bee's face was frozen. What do you want to do to us? We won't surrender to you, you'd better kill us. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu went on to say that he is still very optimistic about Killer Bee, but since he has become an enemy, Akiri Yagyu has no idea of conquering the other side. Akiri Yagyu said something and turned to leave. 3rd Raikage is gone, Cloud Shinobi Village is gone, and the Land of Thunder is gone. After hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, Killer Bee suddenly lost all his strength. His eyes were a little dim, as if he had accepted his fate. He asked softly, now the 2 of them don't even have the strength to commit suicide. I don't know why. Killer Bee has no doubts about what Akiri Yagyu just said. He can be sure. Akiri Yagyu will do what he says. He understands what the 2 battleships Akiri Yagyu is talking about. He has personally experienced those 2 horrors, the power of the battleship. Thinking that he will be the helper of those 2 battleships in the future, Killer Bee suddenly roared unwillingly. No, you can't do this. Come back soon, you damn fellow, you devil, kill me. Killer Bee looked at Akiri Yagyu and asked nervously. He was locked here after being unconscious, and he didn't even know how long it had been outside. However, as the door of the prison was closed, he could not make any sound at all. At this moment, no one could feel Killer Bee's despair. I will not kill you, I will make you immortal, and you will be the energy source for my 2 warships. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The ending is doomed, as your 3rd Raikage said, the greed of human nature makes it impossible for me to have any threats under my hands. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, the 2 suddenly stared again. If we had directly chosen to form an alliance with you, would it have ended like this? With the unwilling and roaring Killer Bee, the 2 warships quickly drove back to the direction of the sea continent. Killer Bee continued to ask with a bitter face on his face. When he was in the Holy Land Martial Arts Conference, he realized that Akiri Yagyu seemed to have many secrets that he didn't even dare to think about. Akiri Yagyu looked at each other and said lightly. Chapter 200 Taki Hidden Village, Water of Heroes. His Royal Highness, according to the latest news I got, the Yahiko of the Shao organization has not returned after the martial arts conference, and now the people of Shao are expanding their personnel and looking for Yahiko's traces. They seem to think that you killed Yahiko. Mifune, who had been silent for a long time, called again, but this time it was about Shao. Yahiko is dead. Akiri Yagyu's eyes jumped when he heard the news reported by Mifune. If it was before, Akiri Yagyu would never believe that anyone could kill Yahiko, but since the last time Yahiko went to himself and was seriously injured by himself, it has been bad. If you were killed, it is not a particularly difficult thing. He didn't ask too many things about Shao, because his ideas are different. Shao will definitely take the line of opposition to him, and he has nothing to worry about since he was already prepared. How many major countries are left? Akiri Yagyu then asked about the news about the remaining 3 great powers. Now that the Kingdom of Thunder has also been destroyed by himself, they should really not be able to sit still this time. Reporting, Your Highness, now several major countries are jointly incorporating the ninja forces of neighboring countries, and have reached an agreement with the country of the sky, and have begun to study His Highness's mechanical equipment, and there are several small countries, threaten. Mifune heard Akiri Yagyu's question and answered immediately. The surrounding small country, Shenjuguo, you go to Taki Village, the country of flow, and bring back their hero's water for me. Akiri Yagyu suddenly thought of something and immediately said to Mifune. Taki Village? Hero's water? Mifune was stunned, not quite understanding what Akiri Yagyu was referring to. I will ask Orochimaru to assist you, and then you will go to the land of streams together. Akiri Yagyu did not explain, thought for a while and continued. Yes. In response, Mifune shut down the phone bug. Advertisement at the same time, Akiri Yagyu also instructed Momosagi to call Ao over. Your Highness, are you looking for me? Now Orochimaru is still a little excited. After the battle, he found that the strength of his body has far exceeded his imagination. The powerful physical function, coupled with the help of the blood wheel eye, is a power he has never experienced before. Eat this. Akiri Yagyu saw Orochimaru coming, AFBD, and took out a purple-black devil fruit with his backhand. Yes, he took a good look at the op fruit in Akiri Yagyu's hand, took it without any hesitation, and took a bite. After taking a bite of devil fruit, Orochimaru's complexion remained the same. Suddenly, the small noise outside disappeared, and the entire office seemed to be another world, unaffected by the outside world. Silence. Fruit. You can create a soundproof wall that can't be seen by the naked eye to isolate the sound of the two worlds from each other, and you can also make your actions completely silent. Okay, you go to the country of iron, find 3 ships, go with him to the country of flow, and bring back the water of heroes. Akiri Yagyu glanced at Orochimaru with satisfaction, and then ordered that Orochimaru should be the most suitable for this kind of secret thing. Yes, Orochimaru responded and quickly backed out. Your Highness, what is the water of heroes? Seeing that Akiri Yagyu gave Orochimaru the fruit of silence, Hancock immediately asked curiously. The ancestral things of Taki Village seem to be condensed in 100 years, which can increase the user's chakra volume tenfold. Akiri Yagyu thought for a moment and said softly, he wouldn't have paid attention to that thing at first, but now that he has Tensigen, chakra is equally important to him. Advertisement. Another point is that he is now being targeted by Sage of 6 Paths, and Sage of 6 Paths has been hit hard by Big Mom. Obviously, it is already an opposing interface, and he will definitely choose between countries who can stop him. Also, Akiri Yagyu is certain that there is someone other than Sage of 6 Paths who is constantly looking for trouble. His Royal Highness, ninjas from various countries arrived in the country of the moon ahead of schedule and successfully settled there. A marine general came in, reporting loudly towards Akiri Yagyu. Let Shiki send 30 Sea Kings to North Blue, and by the way, arrange a few more warships to collect the land alien beasts in the Land of Thunder, and bring all the beasts originally imprisoned on the strange island to the Land of Thunder. A scientific research center will be established here, and those students of the Marine College who have followed the scientific research team to practice in advance should be able to conduct biogigantic experiments on their own. Akiri Yagyu looked ahead and immediately ordered that more than 100,000 meter scale large Sea Kings are enough for Akiri Yagyu to dominate the sea. Now, what he needs is a behemoth that can dominate the land. Big is strong. Losing is because it is not big enough. This is the eternal truth. Akiri Yagyu's side is constantly being repaired. At this moment, the coalition forces of various countries have gathered together again. Akiri Yagyu's ambitions are known to the public, and we must prepare a countermeasure. This meeting is still dominated by Third Hokage. Both mines have fallen into the hands of Yagyu, and the entire sea area has fallen under the control of Akiri Yagyu. Now they can only pray that Akiri Yagyu's land combat strength is insufficient, and they will get along as soon as possible. Plan. With regard to the research on those guns in Akiri Yagyu's hands, we have made new progress and will soon be able to develop the chakra guns. The people from the Kingdom of Sky were the first to speak. At this moment, if they were to sing against the Kingdom of Fire, they would definitely be annexed by Akiri Yagyu, slaughtering the entire Cloud Shinobi village and all the nobles of the Kingdom of Thunder. This kind of news made the people present. Everyone shuddered, and the title of Akiri Yagyu, the god of killing, was divided among countries. We were also informed that those people under Akiri Yagyu's hands may not be very resistant to illusion, and now they are starting to focus on research and development of illusion. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and shared his news. Hearing that, all countries also shared their guesses. I still have a few artificial devil fruits I got from Akiri Yagyu, maybe we can develop them together. Gritting his teeth, Luo Sha took out his 3 devil fruits, which was one of the few. Akiri Yagyu's growth rate has far exceeded his imagination. Chapter 201. Go to Taki Village, Artificial Devil Fruit? Seeing the 3 artificial devil fruits that Luo Sha took out, the eyes of the people present immediately became fiery. They didn't expect Luo Sha to have such a good thing in his hands, especially Sarutobi Hiruzen, but he knows very well what kind of strength Namikaze Minato now has after obtaining op fruit. It can be said that in his field, he is invincible. I only have these 3 left now, you can see how to study it yourself. Luo Sha glanced at everyone, pushed the 3 artificial devil fruits on the table, and stopped talking, letting those people not believe it. Anyway, he just didn't see it. I suggest that countries mobilize their own domestic researchers and start working directly on these things, as well as new weapons. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and didn't force Luo Sha anymore, looked directly at everyone and said, This time, no one has any objection, and they all unified Sarutobi Hiruzen's decision. At the same time, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes fell on the 3 boats. Chief of the 3 ships, you should have mastered Akiri Yagyu's method of rapid improvement in strength. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Mifune, said in a deep voice. Yes, but it is not suitable for ninjas to contact. If they follow their training methods, I am afraid that all ninjas' ninjutsu training will be put on hold. When Mifune heard Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, her eyes jumped, she nodded, and then quickly shook her head again. If you want to learn, I can contribute, but I don't think you can learn. Mifune spread his hands and continued. He has learned a lot, but mainly Marine 6 styles and ordinary way training. With the current ninjas and samurai of various countries, it is difficult to produce results in a short time. For example, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes narrowed, staring at Mifune. One of the tricks is similar to the body flicker technique, which congested the muscles and flickered dozens of steps in 0.36 seconds. Mifune glanced at the crowd and said directly, without hiding anything, that Akiri Yagyu had told him these things. If Sarutobi Hiruzen asked, it would be them. Those guys can also analyze the general operation method of Marine 6 styles. As to whether they can learn it or not, it is up to them. Advertisement after all, Marine 6 styles does not have any skills at all, relying entirely on individual physical fitness and comprehension ability. After Mifune finished speaking, the scene suddenly became quiet, and then there was a burst of discussion. How is this possible? How is it possible for ordinary people to sit at this point? Ordinary people? At least the strength of Jonin or less is impossible. A group of people suddenly have their own opinions, but the only conclusion is that Jonin and below are not expected to achieve. Even if Jonin can do this, it will damage the existence of the body and consume a lot. In the end, everyone agreed that it was unnecessary, because instead of spending a lot of time learning the moves from Akiri Yagyu, it is better to use the body flicker technique that ninjas know, with the assistance of chakra, and the effect is much better than training that one. After all, the physical fitness of Marine in the pirate world has to benefit from the benefits of many ordinary people in the pirate world, and those who can learn Marine 6 styles are also incomparable geniuses. They are all general-level characters in Marine. If they are so eager to learn, countries have long been leveled by Akiri Yagyu's army. Countries are still discussing all ways to increase their power, as well as various means against Akiri Yagyu. After the meeting, Mifune also immediately reported the news to Akiri Yagyu. Not long after Mifune returned to the Iron Country, he also waited for Orochimaru. Now the relationship between countries is delicate. To be safe, Mr. Orochimaru, you need to change your appearance. Seeing Orochimaru sneaking in like a woman, Mifune frowned and said in a deep voice. What do you think I should be like? Orochimaru raised his brows, looked at Mifune, smiled fondly, and asked softly. Kitano, go and call Saburo Hattori. 0, ask for flowers. Taking a deep look at Orochimaru, Mifune suddenly gave a command to Kitano Ichiro next to him. Yes, Kitano Ichiro responded and quickly walked out. After a while, he brought Hattori Saburo, who had participated in the martial arts conference, to Mifune's room. Advertisement, teacher. Are you looking for me? Hattori Saburo came and glanced around, and asked with some strange eyes. Hey. Suddenly, with a flash of blood, Saburo Kitano pierced his heart directly from Saburo Hattori's back. Forbidden food, interesting. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked his lips. He also understood Mifune's thoughts, leaned down and grabbed Saburo Hattori's body with his palm. 0 After a while, Orochimaru had completely changed into Hattori Saburo's appearance, and then a large snake appeared in front of Orochimaru, devoured the corpse on the ground, and was quickly relieved by Orochimaru and sent back by summoning. This is your proud disciple. After tidying up the room, Orochimaru's eyes fell on Mifune. For His Highness's mission, a disciple will die if he dies. Mifune's expression remained unchanged, and he said Akiri Yagyu, with admiration in his eyes. Looking at Mifune's appearance, Orochimaru returned to Hattori Saburo's proper complexion. Let's go as soon as possible. Orochimaru said a word and retreated behind the 3 ships. Kitano, you stay, you are not in the Admiral military mansion, those countries will be guessing again. Mifune nodded, then said to Kitano Ichiro, and walked out with Orochimaru. Mifune took Orochimaru, who was already Hattori Saburo at the moment, and the two left the Admiral military mansion together. The watchers from other major countries didn't pay much attention to it, but thought that Mifune took his talented apprentice out for training. After all, this is the genius who entered the top 10 at the martial arts conference. Although many people did not participate in the competition, but with a samurai who can defeat so many ninjas, such a genius, everything seems so reasonable. Factory. Chapter 202 The Magical Water of Heroes. It took 2 days for the two to arrive in front of a huge waterfall in the kingdom of Yi. Your Highness said that the entrance to Taki Village is hidden in the waterfall, is it true? Orochimaru looked at the waterfall in front and said in surprise. Your Highness? That's right, inside the waterfall in front is Taki Village. Without their permission, it would be difficult for ordinary people to find the entrance. Mifune heard that Akiri Yagyu had never been here and knew the secret of Taki Village, but thinking that even he didn't know what the heroic water was, he didn't guess much, nodded and explained to Orochimaru. So are we going to swim? I can't swim right now. Looking at the turbulent waterfall ahead, Orochimaru frowned and asked strangely. No, there should be other, 280, methods. Sanchuan shook his head and glanced at the waterfall that was dozens of meters wide in front of him. Under the constant impact of the rushing water, he did not dare to rush into such a strong waterfall. Other methods? Orochimaru looked at the 3 ships. Go up, they can't live in a dark place, there must be a place where the light can shine. 21. Recalling that when he was at the joint meeting of the Fire Nations, he saw that the leader of Taki Village and the ninja did not look like they had not been exposed to the sun for a long time. The two of them glanced at each other, then quickly dodged and rushed towards the mountain wall beside the waterfall. It was already evening, and 2 afterimages flew vertically up the mountain wall quickly. Soon, the 2 came to the top of the cliff, and when they looked at the past, there was an endless giant tree. Looking at the dense forest of giant trees ahead, Mifune frowned and looked at Orochimaru next to him. In response, Orochimaru just raised the corners of his mouth, and quickly drilled out countless long snakes from his 2 sleeves, and quickly submerged between the trees. Come with me, Orochimaru said, dodged and rushed directly into the forest. Seeing Orochimaru rushing into the forest, Mifune immediately followed without hesitation. At this moment, in the very center of the forest, on a huge banyan tree, ninjas from Taki Village were constantly patrolling around. Advertisement? Huh. Is it because of the weather? Why are there so many snakes out today? A ninja looked at a lion majesty moving on the trunk, and immediately cut it into 2 pieces with kunai, and said in confusion. I don't know, it seems to be very quiet recently, there is no sound at all. The other ninja frowned and looked forward. The next moment, his eyes suddenly popped. Immediately afterwards, a silver light swept across the 2 ninjas, and the 2 corpses fell directly from the tree trunk. It's the ninja forehead protector of Taki Village, and Liuyan Village should be nearby. Orochimaru and Mifune appeared silently on the tree trunk. Mifune gave Orochimaru a strange look, and then said. Orochimaru, who has the fruit of silence, makes the action of the 2 very smooth. When anyone finds them with vision, they can also immediately find each other and kill each other. Soon the 2 saw a house. His Royal Highness has instructed to find the Water of Heroes first, and don't let people find our traces. Mifune glanced at the houses in front of him, and the smoke in many houses was lit with cooking smoke, and said in a low voice. In order to prevent the Water of Heroes from falling into the hands of those with a heart, the leaders of Taki Village are responsible for guarding the Water of Heroes and destroy it directly when necessary. Understood. Orochimaru glanced at him, understood his worries, and said lightly. Orochimaru set up a soundproof area, and no one could hear the conversation between the 2. As soon as he finished speaking, countless long snakes swooped out from under Orochimaru. Found it, Orochimaru's face moved, and he looked at a cave behind the village. Orochimaru and Mifune looked at each other and rushed over quickly. The cave is very large, and Orochimaru and 3 boats entered it without affecting the activity. Orochimaru followed the trail left by the long snake and took the 3 boats to the front of a waterhole. Is it right here? Mifune frowned and asked in a deep voice. Advertisement, I don't know, go in and see. Orochimaru spread his hands, he can't swim anyway. Looking at Orochimaru, Mifune was speechless for a while. When I was with this guy, I always felt that this guy was trying to harm me. Who are you? Just as Mifune was about to jump off, an exclamation suddenly came from the side. At the same time, the ninja took out a piccolo in his hand, and sent it into his mouth to blow it hard. The whistling sound of the flute came out from the flute, constantly echoing in the ninja's ears, but there was no movement outside, which made the ninja's face suddenly change, and he couldn't help but speed up and quickly rushed out. Wow. You go down and I'll kill him. The next moment, the aura of the ninja suddenly exploded, and the amount of chakra jumped several times. At the same time, Orochimaru also discovered that while the ninja's chakra surged, the life of the ninja was also rapidly declining. Damn it. Seeing Orochimaru act without saying a word, the ninja exclaimed and ran away quickly. Seeing Orochimaru behind him, the ninja's face sank, he gritted his teeth, took out a bamboo tube the size of a finger from his waist, and quickly swallowed the liquid inside. The 2 looked subconsciously and found that a man was looking at them in surprise. Is this the effect of the Water of Heroes? No wonder His Highness is eyeing this place. Damn, you have taken a fancy to the Water of Heroes. Hearing Orochimaru's words, the ninja's heart tightened, and when he saw Orochimaru's bloody eyes, he exclaimed even more. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Orochimaru saw the change of the ninja, and his heart moved, and he understood why Akiri Yagyu suddenly guys ship in the hidden village of Kataki. Blood eyes. Is it Konoha's person? Orochimaru wiped his lower lip with his tongue and said lightly, then his eyes turned red. But Orochimaru wouldn't talk too much to the other party. As soon as the Taki Village ninja finished speaking, Orochimaru turned into a white-scaled snake and charged towards the ninja. At the same time, Orochimaru also chased after him, and the 1.3 scale snake opened its huge mouth and bit the ninja. Chapter 203-1 Can't Let Go. The ninja's chakra skyrocketed, not only improving his own strength, but at the same time, the overflowing chakra surged towards the surroundings, forming a shock that collapsed the surrounding caves. There is movement. It's the leader. At this time, the ninjas of Taki Village heard the movement on the side of the cave. everyone exclaimed, and in an instant, hundreds of ninjas. Looking at those ninjas, Orochimaru also changed from a white-scaled snake to his own appearance. Shui Lunyan, is it from Konoha? As the pupil technique of the Konoha Uchiha clan, blood wheel eye can be said to be a sign of Konoha, and everyone believes that Orochimaru is a Konoha person. I originally planned to leave after taking the Water of Heroes, but I didn't expect so many of you to come out to die. Orochimaru licked his chin, looked at the ninja in front of him and said with a sneer. What? Water of Heroes? Hearing Orochimaru's words, the expressions of a group of Takigakushi ninjas suddenly change. Oh 5, damn, you really are eyeing the Water of Heroes, why did Konoha do this? Hearing Orochimaru's words, Muraki, the leader of the hidden village who had just been chased by Orochimaru, said in a deep voice. Don't always be Konoha Konoha, I don't recognize Konoha now. Orochimaru looked at the group of people in front of him and continued to sneer and said, the next moment, the human skin mask on his face quickly fell off and turned into Orochimaru's original face. Orochimaru. Seeing Orochimaru's face, a ninja behind Muragi suddenly changed his face and exclaimed. What? Orochimaru? Shisha, are you sure? Hearing the exclamation of the ninja, everyone's expressions also change. After all, Konoha Sannin is famous. Afterwards, a group of people looked at Muraki, the leader of Takian Village, and looked at his serious eyes, apparently confirming the identity of the other party. For a time, the faces of the ninjas looking at Orochimaru also became solemn. What? Are you afraid before you start beating? In this case, you should retreat by yourself, and we will leave when we get the Water of Heroes. Orochimaru looked at the fearful eyes of the ninjas ahead. Orochimaru said lightly. Advertisement, what? Hearing Orochimaru's words, the faces of those ninjas were immediately filled with fire and anger. The leader. The enemy is one of Konoha Sannin, the strength is very strong, we. The ninja behind Muraki called Shisha whispered towards Muraki. Do you want to take the hero's water? Muraki immediately understood the idea of the hookah, and he immediately decided to refuse. Without the Water of Heroes, it would be difficult for us to keep each other. Orochimaru has now become a Konoha rebel, and it is said that he has defected to Akiri Yagyu. If we can catch him, it will be sure for the coalition forces of various countries to break the offensive of Akiri Yagyu, extremely important. Shisha seemed to know that Muragi would refuse, so he continued without waiting for him to refuse. Good. Muragi's face changed and changed. He knew that this was an opportunity, and if he could keep Orochimaru, it would be of great help to the army attacking Akiri Yagyu. This is the Water of Heroes, the battle is quick, this guy has a partner, I didn't see that person clearly, that person should have gone to get the Water of Heroes, we must take this guy before he rushes back. Get it done. In the end, Muraki took out 6 more bamboo tubes from his waist and quickly threw them to the ninjas next to him. The next moment, the chakra of those ninjas increased rapidly. This guy actually has so many heroic waters. Orochimaru's face sank when he saw so many people's strength soaring. If all these people were taking the hero's water, even he would be troubled. The others immediately went to evacuate the villagers, and the others came with me. Seeing that several people had taken the Water of Heroes, Muragi immediately gave an order and rushed towards Orochimaru quickly. When the others saw the leader's action, they no longer hesitated, and those ninjas who had taken the heroic water rushed up. Shimmering snake hands. Looking at those ninjas, Orochimaru quickly rushed out of several big snakes from his sleeves to bite at Muraki. Waterfall escape water sword. With a wave of Murakami's palm, chakra immediately condensed a series of water waves, which converged into a substantially hard water sword in his palm. What? Advertisement. The water sword was continuously swung in front of him, and in the blink of an eye, 2 large snakes were cut in half, but the big snake behind immediately stretched out a pair of sharp fangs towards Murakami, entangling them in place. Don't worry about me, you go. Muragi's face sank, and he said immediately, and the others no longer hesitated and rushed towards Orochimaru. It's just a group of Chunin, even if chakra skyrockets, it's just Chunin. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Orochimaru quickly took out the shuriken, and the shuriken quickly came towards the ninjas. Glancing at the villagers in the distance, Munuki knew that his village was not the opponent's opponent at all. If it wasn't for his concern that he would destroy the hero's water in advance, he would have killed him directly. Peeved. Orochimaru looked at the ninjas, sneered, moved his wrist, and pulled out a shuriken from his sleeve. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Peeved. In the distance, the villagers and ninjas who were watching looked at the 6 corpses on the ground. All of them were gasping for air, and some even screamed with their eyes closed. As soon as Muraki finished speaking, a familiar voice came from behind Orochimaru. HMPH, is this Sannin? But that's it. However, the next moment, the shuriken suddenly repeated in the air, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of buddies turned into dense net-like attacks in the air, quickly passing through the bodies of those ninjas. How can this be? None can let go. Damn, run away, get out of here, I'll block him first. 3 ships. Seeing the death of 6 ninjas who had taken the Water of Heroes in the blink of an eye, Muraki was stunned for a moment, and then said in shock. The 6 corpses that had been pierced into hedgehogs by shuriken fell to the ground, and at the same time they made a sound, a puff of dust swayed. Looking at Orochimaru's attack method, the Huka sneered, and 290 then drew out the water sword and slashed towards the shuriken. Chapter 204 Battle Against Seven Tails. What? Mifune? The Admiral Army Mifune of the Iron Country. Hearing Miragi's voice, the ninjas in the hidden village in the distance couldn't help exclaiming. As the Admiral Army of the Iron Country, Mifune is the leader of the Iron Country. He has always been friendly with various countries on the surface, but he did not expect that he had already been hanging out with the people of Akiri Yagyu. Mifune, what's going on? Why are you with Akiri Yagyu's people? Have you taken refuge in Akiri Yagyu? Looking at the figure of Mifune behind Orochimaru, the eyes of the leader of Takigakushi, Muraki, almost popped out. I see. Taking a look at Mifune, Orochimaru nodded. The people of Taki Village knew their identity and saw Mifune's face. If they let them go, I am afraid that other countries will immediately raise their troops to press the country of iron. At that time, His Highness's deployment was in vain. Everyone, run away and do everything possible to escape from here. We are not their opponents. Taki Village can't keep it. We must tell Third Hokage about the rebellion of the Iron Country, and inform the strong men in Konoha Village. Seeing Mifune and Orochimaru's equally indifferent eyes, Muraki immediately turned his head and shouted at the villagers and ninjas of Ruin Village behind him. Looking at the panicked and hesitant crowd, Orochimaru couldn't help licking his chin, then quickly raised his handprint, then leaned over. A burst of white smoke swept across, and the figure of Wan Snake appeared in front of him again. Orochimaru, what are you doing? I haven't recovered from the last Uchiha clan's heavy damage. Do you really think I dare not eat you? As soon as Wan Snake appeared, his face was extremely ugly, and there were still bloodshot eyes in his eyes. It was obvious that the last time Uchiha Fugaku's pupil technique had caused Wan Snake's injuries to be serious. Then, those people are sacrifices for you, eat them all, friend. Orochimaru looked at Myriad Snake, smiled, and then pointed to the ninja and villagers of Takigakura village who were terrified by the appearance of Myriad Snake in the distance. This time, she didn't say much, seeing that most of those ninjas were just ordinary genin, and the villagers were not even ninjas, so they rushed up without hesitation. Damn, I fought with you. Seeing that Orochimaru even summoned the 10,000 snakes, his face changed suddenly, with his eyes red. He took out the only 2 bamboo tubes left at his waist, and was about to drink it. What? The next moment, a silver light flashed, Muraki's movements stopped abruptly, and countless bloody mouths quickly popped out of the vital parts of his body. Advertisement. This thing seems to improve a lot of chakra, but try not to waste it. Mifune took down the bamboo tube that was frozen in Murakami's hands and said lightly. Buzz. Shout. Suddenly, there was a tremor in the forest in the distance, followed by a scream of 10,000 snakes. Orochimaru and Mifune looked at each other and quickly disappeared. When the two appeared beside Wan Snake, they found that there was a huge insect in front of it. And Wan Snake was also drenched in blood by force. It's 7 tails. Seeing the insect, Mifune's face sank and he said solemnly. It's handed over to the 2 of us here, don't let anyone else go. Orochimaru saw Wan Snake's unkind gaze, and said lightly, and then looked at 7 tails as well. Humph. Wan, she snorted coldly. The injury caused by Uchiha Fugaku has not yet recovered, and he has no city wall. After all, there are still so many living sacrifices waiting for it to devour. Since it's a tailed beast, take it back, your highness should really need a tailed beast. Orochimaru turned his gaze to the 7 tails that kept dying, thinking of the 2 Jinchuriki that Akiri Yagyu had captured from the Land of Thunder, and Orochimaru said softly. Try it. Mifune nodded. It was a tailed beast after all, and he wasn't sure if he could capture this guy alive. Hey, 7 tails Chome looked like a huge beetle. Taking advantage of Jinchuriki's mood disorder when he was being chased and killed, he took the opportunity to rush out, not to listen to the 2 discussing how to deal with him. Seeing the 2 suddenly roared, he let out a sharp sound, the sound of insects. Advertisement immediately afterwards, the 8 tails behind 7 tails that looked like wings rushed up. HMPH, only 7 tails. Seeing the roaring 7 tails, Orochimaru's face sank. Forbidden technique Yaki technique. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed, and then he also roared. His body split in an instant, and then quickly grew 8 huge white-scaled snakeheads. 7 tails bites away. Research. Boom. Call. Suddenly, Orochimaru collided with 7 tails' 7 tails, which meant that he would give in, and Orochimaru's extra chief smashed down at 7 tails' body. Hey! 7 tails Chome seemed to sense the danger, raised his head, the dark horns on a carapace blocked Orochimaru's attack, and the 2 sides suddenly fell into a stalemate. However, 7 tails' attack method is not just relying on the body. The next moment, the yin and yang chakra quickly gathered in the mouth. As the chakra gathered more and more, Orochimaru's heart tensed. Before Orochimaru retracted the snake's head, the tailed beast bomb had been ejected by 7 tails, and a vertical beam of light was suddenly drawn. Tailed beast bomb was blasted on the head of a large white-scaled snake, and it exploded instantly. Even the immediate head next to it was affected. It was directly blown up, or half of it was blown up. In the blink of an eye, only 3 heads were left intact, can be said to be extremely miserable. Seeing that Orochimaru had fallen behind, Makua suddenly stopped waiting. I saw that Mifune quickly put his palm on the hilt of the knife, condensing chakra on the wrist and the sharp blade of the weapon. House cut. The long sword was pulled out quickly, and at the same time it seemed to bring out an arc of silver light from the scabbard. The radius of the silver arc light was dozens of meters, which was more powerful than when Akiri Yagyu fought against Ichiro Kitano before. Much more, no less than a ninjutsu unleashed by a Jonin. Forever Chapter 205 Forced Tailbeastization. At this moment, Akiri Yagyu is standing in the Marine Research Center of Sky City. His Royal Highness, leave it to us. With Kirigakure's research ninjas here, it's no problem to modify the Pluton's energy device, including power. We will install 173 high-quality chakra power furnaces on the Pluton, assembled into an oversized kinetic energy device. As long as there is enough chakra, it can supply Pluton's actions and attacks. After Lyle heard Akiri Yagyu's request, he immediately said seriously, in fact, when they were studying the design of Pluton, they had considered recording everything that could be modified in Pluton. This is how researchers work, because they're not sure what point they'll use in the future, so they'll go through all the features incidentally. Many great scientific inventions and major discoveries are often made inadvertently. Just like gunpowder, one of the 4 great inventions that Akiri Yagyu knew, who would have thought that it was originally intended to study immortality, but it turned out to be such a thing. 290. Well, how about those 2 Jinchuriki studies? Akiri Yagyu nodded and continued to ask. Akiri Yagyu needs the scientific research team to find a way to stimulate the spirit of Jinchuriki. He wants to keep the 2 Jinchuriki-tailed beasts to provide himself with enough chakra energy for Pluton to attack. Nodding his head, Akiri Yagyu continued. In addition to obtaining the approval of the tail beast transformation will only be activated if Jinchuriki is stimulated and disturbed by chakra. Akiri Yagyu does not intend to let Killer Bee and the others take the initiative to help him. It is better to himself take full control of Jinchuriki and force them to be safer. Your Highness, please come with me. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's question, Lyle was a little embarrassed, and then took Akiri Yagyu out of the scientific research center and came to an empty independent building. The building materials outside seem to be the same materials as Pluton. It is estimated that the firearms will not leave a trace. Seeing Akiri Yagyu and Lyle approaching, the 2 Marines with guns at the door immediately saluted and quickly opened the hatch. Wow! As soon as the hatch was opened, a painful muffled sound came from inside. As far as Akiri Yagyu's eyes can reach, Killer Bee is constantly being stimulated by electric current, and every time he stimulates, Killer Bee can't help screaming. In the prison next to Killer Bee, the 2 Jinchuriki 2-tailed cats by Wooden Golem are currently imprisoned in the yellow sand. Their spirits are lethargic, and they have obviously suffered a lot. Advertisement, Akiri Yagyu. Killer Bee saw Akiri Yagyu's figure in the haze. His eyes were full of resentment. He wanted to smash Akiri Yagyu to ashes, and it was this resentment that made him persist until now. Seeing this monstrous hatred from Killer Bee, Akiri Yagyu frowned, and Conqueror's Haki quickly released it. Puff! Akiri Yagyu's high-level Conqueror's Haki can already affect objects, and it falls on Killer Bee's head, causing him to be severely injured. The next moment, the current stimulates his spirit again, directly causing Killer Bee's mental breakdown. His eyes are in pain become dumbfounded. Deliver? Lyle looked at the change of Killer Bee, and was stunned and let out a skepticism. Then, I saw that Killer Bee's body began to change rapidly, as if a terrible energy was rapidly awakening from Killer Bee's body. As Killer Bee quickly turned into a tail beast, a powerful force came out from the body, and soon, AFBD. Let it get rid of the shackles of the yellow sand in the laboratory. Completely tailed beasts have also become restrained. Roar. After being completely transformed into a tail beast, the injuries on Killer Bee's body have completely disappeared. The huge Gyuki with 8 tentacle-like tails kept hitting the special prison door outside. Boom. Call. The specially treated gate was rattled by the tail of 8 tails, because the space was too small to exert its strength, and the soft sand underfoot prevented the gate from being smashed immediately. Release nerve paralyzing gas. Looking at the restless 8 tails, Lyle waved his hand and said at the same time. The next moment, the experimental chamber was immediately sealed, and at the same time, dim white nerve gas was rapidly released in the 4 corners. Advertisement soon. The gas filled the entire laboratory chamber, but the crashing sound continued. No effect. Lyle was startled, but as soon as he finished speaking, the movement inside disappeared immediately. Get rid of the nerve paralyzing toxin. Seeing that the movement inside disappeared, Lyle breathed a sigh of relief and gave an order. As the exhaust system inside was opened, the neurotoxin as thick as a mist was quickly extracted. And as the nerve gas was expelled, the 8 tails inside were revealed. What? No effect. Seeing Yuki, who was not affected at all and was staring blankly at the poison gas dispersing around him, reeled and let out an exclamation. If it was in human form, it would be fine, but now that it has been transformed into a tailed beast, how could the neurotoxin used against humans be effective? Seeing the fog disappearing, 8 tails also reacted, looking ahead, obviously not planning to keep hitting the gate with brute force, only to see it quickly open its mouth and began to gather tailed beast bomb with chakra. Protect, under the pad. After watching 8 tails ignore the poison gas and start preparing to attack again, Lyle exclaimed again, and the nearby Marines immediately gathered. A series of hangs. Sound hangs. All guns and bullets were loaded immediately. Momoshiki and Hancock behind Akiri Yagyu also immediately dodged in front of Akiri Yagyu. You step back, this guy is not something you can deal with. Akiri Yagyu waved his hand and said lightly. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, Marine didn't hesitate and both retreated, while Hancock and Momoshiki also retreated to both sides, but Momoshiki's saber was still attached to Haki, and Hancock had also pulled the slave arrow of the heart arrow. Chapter 206 New Quest. One-on-one tailed beasts. Ding. Congrats to host for triggering the side quest, Power Broken Tail Beast. Quest requirements. Defeat and conquer any one-tailed beast Jinchuriki. Quest reward. Flame of Phoenix Fire Skillbook. As soon as everyone left, a prompt appeared in front of Akiri Yagyu's eyes, and then a task panel popped up. Boom. The next moment, under everyone's astonished gaze, Eight Tails used the Tailed Beast Bomb to easily defeat the strong prison gate, and then the Tailed Beast Bomb fired a few kilometers before it exploded into sand far away on the opposite side. The impact of the explosion hundreds of meters high shook the entire Sky City. Call. Boom. Boom. As the earth continued to shake, Eight Tails also walked out of the huge house step by step. Go out and fight with me, and if you can beat me, I'll let you go. Akiri Yagyu looked at Eight Tails Gyuki that emerged from the house, Akiri Yagyu said with a chuckle. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, Eight Tails overlooked Akiri Yagyu, who was not the size of his own slap, and approaching Akiri Yagyu, Momoshiki and Hancock immediately planned to attack. How about it? If you fail, you will keep the tailed beast for me to drive. Akiri Yagyu stretched out his hand to suppress the two, still smiling at Gyuki. Eight Tails stared at Akiri Yagyu with big eyes like lanterns, and a burst of hot air from his nose made the ground around Akiri Yagyu dusty. Little devil, do you know what you're talking about? Gyuki looked at Akiri Yagyu and said with a deep disdain in his eyes. Come with me if you agree. If you don't agree, I'll find someone to lock you up again. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu gave Gyuki a look, then went straight into Tensigen chakra mode, drifting towards the sand in the distance. Call. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's words, the sound of Shiki and Kizaru, the two guys made him unable to fight back at all. Eight Tails suddenly felt a shock, then seemed to feel ashamed, snorted coldly, and quickly chased after Akiri Yagyu. Inform Kizaru Admiral immediately. Forget it, let all the generals who are okay come over. Watching Akiri Yagyu and Eight Tails leave, Lyle gritted his teeth and hurriedly ordered. Hearing Lyle's words, everyone was also afraid of what would happen to Akiri Yagyu, so they acted immediately, and all the generals in the entire Sky City rang at the same time. Knowing that Akiri Yagyu was going to fight Eight Tails himself, they all rushed to the sand just in case. Akiri Yagyu's speed was not very fast, and by the time he appeared on the sand with Eight Tails, there were already quite a few marine generals on the sand. Especially Virgo, Kizaru and Shiki, who returned after dropping dozens of large sea kings to North Blue between the Land of Earth and the Land of Thunder according to Akiri Yagyu's order from the Land of Thunder. The 3+ crocodiles standing in 4 directions on the sand, looking at Eight Tails indifferently. Little devil, is this what you mean by a duel? After seeing Kizaru, Eight Tails narrowed his eyes, and when he noticed the dangerous lightning flashing on Virgo's body, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he said towards Akiri Yagyu. They won't do anything to you. Akiri Yagyu glanced at it, did not explain, just replied lightly. Eight Tails watched the group of marine generals eyeing them, and silently followed behind Akiri Yagyu. Eight Tails, who was following behind Akiri Yagyu, was not idle either. After his eyes swept across the white sea of clouds around him, he immediately dismissed the idea of escaping if he couldn't fight it. Little brat, you're ready. It would be too sad when I hit you with a tailed beast bomb without leaving any scum. After entering the sand, looking at Akiri Yagyu's back, Eight Tails sneered, used his tail directly, and attacked from behind Akiri Yagyu. Although Eight Tails is huge, its movements are extremely fast, and the tail has a cracking sound, which is difficult for ordinary Jonin to dodge. This guy actually attacked. Seeing Eight Tails' actions, Ching, who came to join in the fun, was shocked and angry. Advertisement 0. Ask for flowers. Seeing the huge octopus-like tentacle tail smashed towards Akiri Yagyu, which was thicker than several people's embrace, suddenly a huge figure emerged from the void and blocked Eight Tails' attack. That is, seeing the huge stone statue, Ching was taken aback. Sage of 6 Paths. No, it's the stone statue of Otsutsuki Hamura, the younger brother of Sage of 6 Paths. Looking at the stone statue, Eight Tails was also stunned, then shook his head and said, as the tailed beast that Sage of 6 Paths personally pulled out, he naturally heard some past events that Sage of 6 Paths had mentioned to them. Although the memory is a little fuzzy, looking at this stone statue can still evoke his memories. How did you have this stone statue? Eight Tails looked at the stone statue with a sullen face, and as he spoke, 3 tails slammed into the stone statue's arm, smashing the stone statue's arm instantly. But the next moment, the arm of the stone statue immediately recovered. Can it be restored? Seeing the stone statue of Hamura restored to its original shape, Eight Tails' heart sank even more. That is the effect of the statue of Hamura summoned by Akiri Yagyu through Tensigen. As long as Akiri Yagyu is undefeated, the statue of Hamura can be restored indefinitely. Your Highness's strength has increased again. Virgo looked at Akiri Yagyu, and his heart was also moved. At the time, His Highness, who had to deal with Shunin himself, is now able to resist the tailed beast. If Kitano Ichiro is here, I am afraid it will be even more shocking, and even lament that there is no hope of chasing Akiri Yagyu's footsteps in this life. HMPH, don't think that a stone statue can beat me. 8 Tails looked at the stone statue, frowned and snorted coldly. 3 Tails entangled with the stone statue of Hamura, and the remaining 5 Tails all rushed towards Akiri Yagyu. The 5 Tails are like 5 giant red pillars, each with a strong force. Once hit, even the cage level will be the first. Even third Raikage needs to face his every time with all his strength. Attack. Factory, Chapter 207 Planetary Devastation, The Flame of the Phoenix. As those tentacles attacked, Akiri Yagyu raised his palms in the direction of 8 Tails. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Under the rapid urging of Tensagen's power, Akiri Yagyu's body immediately moved forward with a terrifying repulsion. That terrifying pressure quickly pushed up the sand in front of Akiri Yagyu, taking the front of Akiri Yagyu's palm as the boundary, as if a sand-colored shock cannon suddenly shot out, crushing 8 Tails with incomparable pressure. With the appearance of the repulsive force, the 5 tentacles quickly slowed down towards Akiri Yagyu, and even finally stalemate with Akiri Yagyu's forehead repulsion force in the air. What kind of power is this? Feeling the huge repulsive force from Akiri Yagyu's forward movement, it completely shrouded the yellow sand, and could only vaguely see the huge figure of 3001 in the yellow sand. Buzz. Suddenly, the yellow sand shook violently, and then a huge black-tailed beast bomb spewed out of the yellow sand and shot in the direction of Akiri Yagyu. Tailed beast bomb has just appeared. Kizaru and the others seem to be ready. Virgo is surging with thunder. The sky is covered with dark clouds, and the golden light flashes under the dark clouds, all from Kizaru. Shiki also pulled out his double edge, and rushed forward as soon as Akiri Yagyu showed any signs of failure. The truth-seeking ball rushed out. Akiri Yagyu's repulsion quickly stopped, the yellow sand fell immediately, and 8 Tails also saw Akiri Yagyu's figure. He didn't hide. Seeing Akiri Yagyu facing his tailed beast bomb, he didn't mean to dodge and sneered. Your Highness, he is. Seeing Akiri Yagyu's eyes widen, and blue veins suddenly appeared on his forehead, Ching was startled, and the scene from when he was in the Land of Thunder sounded, and his heart tightened. The scene of Akiri Yagyu absorbing the chakra beams emitted by the chakra cannons with only one hand is still vivid in my mind. Looking at Akiri Yagyu's posture, this time it seems that he intends to absorb the chakra in the tailed beast bomb. Advertisement. This, Your Highness, is crazy. Looking at Akiri Yagyu, Ao murmured. Facing the huge tailed beast bomb, Akiri Yagyu's expression was also extremely serious. Tensagen's pupil power was madly stimulated by him, and the Otsutsuki blood power in his body was also fully stimulated. Planetary devastation. Akiri Yagyu let out a low voice, and the stone statue of Otsutsuki Hamura immediately rushed to 8 Tails and hugged it directly. Immediately afterwards, a crazy gravitational force emanated from the body of the stone statue, and the surrounding yellow sand that had taken advantage of the opportunity surged again. What? 8 Tails' heart trembled and let out a roar. Then he was surrounded by yellow sand again, and in the blink of an eye, he was blocked in a huge spherical space with yellow sand condensed together with the stone statue of Yumura. Wow! Immediately afterwards, the sand ball staggered a crack, the two sides of the ball suddenly staggered, and then quickly collapsed. The figure of 8 Tails has disappeared. Killer Bee's body fell from the air along with the sand. Although it has been completely transformed into a tailed beast, if it takes enough damage, the tailed beast will return to its original Jinchuriki appearance due to the overload of its strength. Ding! Congratulations to host for defeating any one-tailed beast Jinchuriki alone, and completing the side quest, Power-Breaking Tailed Beast. Get, quest reward. Flame of Phoenix, Skillbook. The Phoenix Fruit Marco's Phoenix Flame, use it immediately. After Akiri Yagyu heard the quest prompt, he immediately learned the skillbook of Phoenix's Flame that had just sunk in the inventory. The next moment, the space shook, and Akiri Yagyu's original pale green Tensigen chakra code immediately ignited a blue cyan flame. This time, I have more confidence. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu smiled slightly in his heart, feeling the flames of the phoenix that ignited without the slightest heat. At the same time, Tailed Beast Bomb has also arrived in front of Akiri Yagyu. After the yin and yang attribute chakra has been compressed with high density, it has the effect of crushing the air, and its power is stronger than that of the first generation of the Land of Thunder. Chakra guns are much more powerful. Tailed Beast Bomb is a combination of the yin and yang attributes of chakra. Chakra ninjutsu without the power of nature is destined to be absorbed by the blood of the Otsutsuki clan. Akiri Yagyu looked at the Tailed Beast Bomb getting closer, and quickly a part of chakra began to quickly gather in his hands. Buzz. In a blink of an eye, Tailed Beast Bomb had reached Akiri Yagyu's palm, following Yagyu's palm. Just as Akiri Yagyu thought, the chakra in Tailed Beast Bomb began to be absorbed quickly after touching Akiri Yagyu's Tensigen chakra, and at the same time, Akiri Yagyu also felt a huge force on his arm, making his bones tick. Ring. The next moment, the flame of the phoenix quickly ignited on Akiri Yagyu's arms, and the broken arms from the terrifying impact force in Tailed Beast Bomb quickly recovered, and even the pain disappeared immediately, but Tailed Beast Bomb quickly recovered. The strength of Akiri Yagyu did not end, and Akiri Yagyu's newly repaired arm was immediately broken again. Hiss. Constantly being broken and repaired, the pain of the tear, and the comfort of the body being repaired, kicked each other, making Akiri Yagyu extremely uncomfortable at this moment. But Tailed Beast Bomb's chakra was absorbed very quickly, just for a few seconds, but to Akiri Yagyu, it seemed like a long time. After absorbing the Yin-Yang attribute chakra 1.3 in Tailed Beast Bomb, Akiri Yagyu felt that the chakra in his body became more abundant again. The chakra originally consumed by resisting the impact of Tailed Beast Bomb and summoning the statue of Yumura has now been fully replenished, came up. Who? Akiri Yagyu breathed a sigh of relief when Tailed Beast Bomb was absorbed by himself. After all, he was not a pure Otsutsuki bloodline, and he could not directly absorb Tailed Beast Bomb. Fortunately, he used the Flame of the Phoenix in time, otherwise, just now at that moment, Akiri Yagyu's arms were shattered by the force of the collision. If it really exploded on himself, would he be able to take it? It's hard to say. At this moment, Akiri Yagyu finally realized that his strength has improved a lot, but his strength is still too poor. Chapter 208 Captive Jiraiya. Your Highness, what kind of ninjutsu was that just now? We have never heard of it. Seeing that the battle was over, Ao came over and asked Akiri Yagyu in surprise. It's a pupil technique, you can't get in touch for the time being, and when we can really decipher the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan, we'll give each of you a pair. Akiri Yagyu laughed when he heard Qing's doubts. Tenseigion's control of gravity and repulsion allowed him to imitate several of Rinnegan's abilities. If one day you can really equip your troops with enough Tenseigon or Rinnegan, you don't need any other skills, just 2 Tengai Shinsei from a beauty will be enough to crush any country. Looking at Killer Bee in front of him, Akiri Yagyu's eyes jumped up again. Although Killer Bee has been severely damaged mentally, Eight Tails Gyuki still has his own consciousness. Although he made a bet with Eight Tails to make him surrender himself, but with the urine nature of these tailed beasts, it is naturally impossible to surrender honestly. Akiri Yagyu looked back and found that Virgo was hesitant to say anything. What's wrong? Looking at Virgo strangely, Akiri Yagyu asked indifferently. His Royal Highness, when you attacked the Land of Thunder before, an army at sea raided the sea continent and was blocked by me in the middle, but there was one person who didn't seem to be dead and was brought back by me. Hearing Akiri Yagyu's question, Virgo said in a deep voice. Huh? Take me to see it. Akiri Yagyu frowned, although he didn't know what attack Virgo used to block the raiding army, but he was able to survive. He must have a certain ability. It won't be that old Sarutobi Hiruzen, Yagyu thought to himself, but immediately shook his head. If Sarutobi Hiruzen attacked him, not to mention whether the cage level of other countries would join in, at least as third Hokage if he didn't go back for so long, Konoha must be in chaos at this moment. Akiri Yagyu thought about it for a while before guessing, and followed Virgo directly to the front of a cage, outside where 2 special Jonin guards from Kirigakure were sitting cross-legged inside. Jiraiya. Advertisement. Akiri Yagyu raised his brows, but he didn't expect it to be this guy again. If I remember correctly the last time, Shiki said that he let this guy run away. Both times he led the team and ushered in the annihilation of the entire army. Only himself survived. At this moment, this guy will cry to death. Akiri Yagyu looked at Jiraiya, his eyes moved, Conqueror's haki pressed towards Jiraiya alone. At this moment, both eyes and ears of Jiraiya had bloodstains from the original Lei Ying, and his vision and hearing could not be restored for the time being. He was also bound by 2 special hands from Kirigakure, and he used special steel needles to block the flow of chakra in his various acupuncture points, preventing him from using ninjutsu, and avoiding being summoned back by reverse summoning again. Chakra could not flow. Then it is no different from ordinary people. Even if the frogs of Mount Myoboku use reverse summoning, it will not work. At this moment, Jiraiya is really no different from a cripple. Okay. Feeling the familiar momentum, he groaned and frowned. Your Excellency Yagyu? Jiraiya felt the pressure disappear and asked in a deep voice. Akiri Yagyu didn't speak, and even if he did, Jiraiya couldn't hear him. Jiraiya also didn't know if Akiri Yagyu was talking, but he had a feeling. He felt Akiri Yagyu was looking at him. The country of thunder should have fallen. After all, you are back. You can still come to see me. So soon even the 3 countries of destroying mines in Hongzhou Island, East Blue and South Blue, and even North Blue, it should already belong to your power. Jiraiya asked, and then said to himself with a wry smile. He didn't know how long it had been outside, but he knew it wasn't long. If Akiri Yagyu failed to attack the country of thunder, he would not be able to come back. The fleet he led had been destroyed by the thunder, and of course Akiri Yagyu, who had a phone bug, would not be able to bring people back to support him. Akiri Yagyu can return here, and there can only be one result, that is, the Land of Thunder may no longer exist. Thinking of this, Jiraiya couldn't help but twitch in his heart, and even sighed Akiri Yagyu's horror. Advertisement. He recorded his current situation with the influence phone bug and sent it to the Fire Nation, and then cured his eyes and ears. Listening to Jiraiya's words, Akiri Yagyu did not answer from beginning to end, gave the other party a deep look, and gave an order. Yes. Virgo didn't have any doubts about Akiri Yagyu's request. He answered and arranged it immediately. At the moment, inside the Konoha Village Hokage office. Lord Hokage, what are you doing with me? Looking at third Hokage with a heavy face in front of him, Tsunade, who was called back, moved in his heart and asked suspiciously. 320. Jilai also led troops to attack the base of Akiri Yagyu, and has been out of contact for a few days, I suspect. Halfway through speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed and looked up at Tsunade. Looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen, Tsunade also understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen was going to say next, and his face changed suddenly. With his strength, shouldn't it? Tsunade murmured, his eyes even more puzzled. Last time he was able to escape with the reverse summoning with Mount Myoboku, not knowing this time. It's hard to say for now, we're trying to find a way to contact the two frog fairies in Mount Myoboku. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head, he was not sure whether Jiraiya was alive or dead, and now he was also regretting to die. Why should he be greedy and let Jiraiya attack Akiri Yagyu's base alone? You don't have to look for us. Little Jiraiya explained to us before departure. Every 2 days, he will summoning us to deliver messages. If the message is not delivered according to the agreement, then use the reverse summoning directly. We have already tried. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, Immortal Jima jumped in from the door. Halfway through the words, everyone already knew the answer. Chapter 209 The Negotiation Plan of Hokage's Office. At this moment, Taki Hidden Village. As Mifune pulled out an arc of sword energy that was dozens of meters wide, it instantly cut through Seven Tails' tails, and the Seven Tails also fell to the ground with the arc. Orochimaru also took the opportunity to use the remaining snake heads and smashed it down at Seven Tails. The ground suddenly trembled. The entire Liuyan village was shaking violently, and even the waterfall in the distance swayed along with it. The new body still needs to get in touch. After Orochimaru attacked, he withdrew from the Orochimaru, shook his neck, looked at the unconscious Seven Tails Jinchuriki, and said lightly. Mifune didn't speak, just came to Seven Tails Jinchuriki, lifted it silently, and at the same time took out a transparent gourd-shaped container filled with milky white liquid and threw it to Orochimaru together. The two did not spend much time in Takiyan Village, and after searching the surroundings to determine that all the people in Takiyan Village were killed, they left quickly. 3 days later, Orochimaru returned to the Land of Thunder, and handed over the Seven Tails Jinchuriki and the Water of Heroes to Sicily. After letting him bring it back to Akiri Yagyu in person, he stayed directly in the Land of Thunder to help those who were doing it. Students of the biogiganization experiment. At this moment, Konoha, who was not sure whether Jiraiya was alive or dead, also received a projection of the videophone bug recorded by Akiri Yagyu. Call the leaders of all countries and villages immediately, we can't wait any longer. Looking at the miserable Jiraiya, Tsunade was furious, slapped the third Hokage's desk with a slap, and shouted. Tsunade, calm down first. Sarutobi Hiruzen, also with a dull expression, picked up the pipe and took a deep breath. Calm down? How is this calm? Jiraiya must be being abused like this now, for a long time. Tsunade took a deep breath, his anger still unquenched. If we rashly send troops to fight, it will make Jiraiya's situation even more dangerous. Advertisement. Looking at Tsunade, Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice, in this case, he would have preferred Jiraiya to be shocked to death rather than fall into Akiri Yagyu's hands. Then what do we do? Tsunade also knew that he was impulsive, so he sat down and asked dully. Prepare, you bring someone to negotiate with Akiri Yagyu, by the way, to determine what is the current situation in Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment and continued. I will call the leaders of various countries first and then discuss it. Sarutobi Hiruzen now thinks of the attitudes of other countries, and suddenly he has a headache, especially those small countries bordering the most western countries that follow the trend in the land of the land. None of them are easy to deal with. Lord Hokage. The people arrived before the sound, and Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned when he heard it. It was the voice of Anbu's people again, there must be something else. Sure enough, the next moment, a masked figure flashed in from the door. I hope you can bring me good news this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at each other and said with a cold face, Jiraiya is in a bad situation now, and he doesn't want to hear too much bad news. There is one. The first batch of aircraft carriers in the country of the sky has reached the port of our country. There are currently 7 and 13,000 sets of various portable kunai launchers have been equipped. The Land of the Sky also provided 20 chakra-guided artillery launchers, as well as giant kunai launchers and 6,000 chakra muskets, which are currently on their way. The Anbu ninja nodded and said solemnly. Hearing the ninja's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression gradually became brighter. Very well, scientific research ninjas from various countries have also arrived in the Land of the Sky. Let them start researching the secret weapon against Akiri Yagyu. Sarutobi Hiruzen finally nodded with satisfaction. The rapid fall of the Land of Thunder, the countries have entered a state of tension, and now there is an urgent need for weapons that can resist Akiri Yagyu's army. Advertisement. Be sure to block this news, and at the same time, go to the country of Iron and ask General Mifune to ask him if he has any special discoveries. Looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen's appearance, Anbu Ninja didn't have the heart to disturb the other party, but he still decided to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned upon hearing that Anbu Ninja still had something to do. The ninja of Anbu said more solemnly, Orochimaru, who was born in Konoha, knew very well the way they traced the clues, and did not leave them any useful clues at all. Trail was slaughtered. Who did it? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and murmured. The leader of Takiyan Village, who went back to summon ninjas in the clan, lost all contact with us. We also sent people to check, but we couldn't find the location of Taki Village, and there was no one who passed through the call device left by Taki Village. In response, we guessed that Taki Village should have been slaughtered. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Looking at the silent third Hokage ahead, Anbu's ninja said solemnly. Why did they go to Taki Village? Is there anything special there? Everyone in Taki Village has been silenced, because the relationship between Taki Village can't be found, except for some dead snake's bloodline and corpses in the forest. No body of Taki Village or ninja has been found. Okay. Even though he knew that Orochimaru could not be found in the Iron Country, the country of Ryu also bordered the Iron Country, and the Taki Village was slaughtered, so the Iron Country should be pulled into the water. Hearing the ninja's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face that had just changed, suddenly sank again. Hidden Village is bordering the northern part of the Country of Fire and is friendly with the Country of Fire. Taki Hiruzen was slaughtered under the eyes of the Country of Fire. If this kind of news falls into the ears of the surrounding small countries, I am afraid it will immediately cause turmoil. When we were looking for Taki Village, we found traces of Orochimaru. It can be concluded that Akiri Yagyu sent people to do it, and people have been sent to follow up, but there are no follow-up clues. Anbu Ninja stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes and said in a deep voice. Lord Hokage, one more thing. Chapter 210 is a helpless and desperate negotiation. The next day, under the news blockade, Tsunade set off early in the morning with people. This time Sarutobi Hiruzen learned to be honest and did not dare to arrange more people, and even did not intend to let Tsunade go to Akiri Yagyu, but she insisted on going. Because all the islands in the middle were gathered together by Akiri Yagyu, Tsunade and the others traveled on the endless sea for 2 days, and even once doubted whether they were lost in the sea. They finally saw the traces of the sea continent. There are nearly 20 islands in the section, and it gives people an endless feeling when they see it. His Royal Highness, there is only one ship of the Fire Nation, and it is approaching the port. The opposing ship has a white negotiating signal flag. When Tsunade and their ships entered the territory of the sea continent, the Marine Command Center immediately reported Tsunade and their tracks to Akiri Yagyu. Raising the white flag was first used for armistice negotiations, and over time it was gradually considered a sign of surrender. Let them land, and I'll go see them. Akiri Yagyu had no intention of exposing his Sky City to Fire Nation 327, so he directly asked people to arrange the other party nearby for a while. However, accompanied by Shiki, Akiri Yagyu did not make the other party wait too long. Tsunade and the others received Akiri Yagyu's summons after 2 days of fatigue at sea, and they did not even have time to take a good rest. So fast? Advertisement. Tsunade raised his brows and wondered if Akiri Yagyu was waiting for them on purpose, but because she was thinking about Jiraiya's comfort, she didn't have time to think about it, so she brought a few people along with the worker pen to a place about 50 to 60 square meters, inside the room. As soon as Tsunade and the others entered, they found a young man sitting behind the 5-meter-long table. Tsunade looked at each other with the people she brought, and their eyes became extremely strange. Although he knew for a long time that His Highness Yagyu was not very old, he did not expect to be so young. They don't understand why Akiri Yagyu can become a sea dominance so quickly at such a young age. No one thinks that Akiri Yagyu created it with his AFBD ability. Akiri Yagyu ignored Tsunade's gaze, which he had felt countless times, and just looked at Tsunade for himself. Tsunade was probably in his 30s at the moment, but from the outside, Akiri Yagyu didn't feel that the other party was in his 30s at all. Tsunade calmed himself down, took his eyes away from Akiri Yagyu, and glanced at Shiki again. Noticing the golden hair on Shiki's back and waist, his heart moved. This guy was the one who third Hokage warned him to pay special attention to before he set off. Finally, Tsunade glanced at Hancock and Momosagi who were behind Akiri Yagyu. Even Tsunade had some experience with their looks, especially when facing Hancock. If they hadn't seen what Akiri Yagyu gave them at the time influenced, she even thought that Jiraiya did not go back on purpose because he had taken a fancy to the girl here. Although having BIGMOM can help him increase his lifespan, Akiri Yagyu still hopes that he can truly live forever. At the same time, it is also to see if the development of Namikaze Minato Op fruit for ageless surgery can be put on the agenda. He has already obtained the heroic water of Taki Village and found that, as the legend, after using it, it will greatly increase the amount of chakra, but it will also consume a lot of life, and with the overloaded use of chakra in the future, the life will continue to be consumed. For Tsunade, Akiri Yagyu is non-committal. Of course he can't refuse immortality, but only he knows that after the surgery of immortality is performed, the practitioner will die. If the surgery of immortality is really developed, then Namikaze Minato himself will die, clear. Another point, that is, if Namikaze Minato becomes Akiri Yagyu's person now, then he will lose the original pressure, and without the stimulation of pressure, he wants to develop the ultimate of Op fruit, and research the operation of ageless surgery. It will be even more distant. As soon as he finished speaking, Tsunade aimed at Akiri Yagyu's cheek, noticing that Akiri Yagyu only agreed with what he said, but he didn't seem to be moved at all, which made her even more uneasy. If Akiri Yagyu could not be moved by immortality, then there is really no way. Advertisement. Do you think I will let the tiger go back to the mountain? What do you want? I can promise you on behalf of Konoha. Even Minato has researched the operation of immortality. We can promise you to be the first to operate on you, and you can live forever. You should not be able to refuse. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Item 6. Akiri Yagyu heard the other party's inquiry, and said lightly, he was not surprised by Tsunade's inquiry. Akiri Yagyu asked people to pass Jiraiya's information back to Konoha, originally to let Sarutobi Hiruzen weigh it, and send someone over if there is nothing. Send to death. Akiri Yagyu's appearance, thinking of everything Akiri Yagyu has now, they don't seem to have anything to impress him, and she really can't guess what Akiri Yagyu did all this for. Then, the fingers on Tsunade's table moved, and the figure standing behind Tsunade was slightly staggered, revealing a slightly immature face. The development of any kind of devil fruit, after all, still depends on the belief of the capable person, otherwise he would have gone to destroy Konoha directly and desperately. Finding no one else, Tsunade pulled up a chair in front and sat down, while the others stood behind Tsunade without saying a word. Where is Jiraiya? We're going to take him back. Although Marine Academy can be forcibly bound, it also needs to be accepted by those who enter Marine Academy. After the martial arts conference, none of the 9 people outside the top 10 Kaku wanted to study in Marine Academy. Akiri Yagyu knew that Sean relying on fooling around, it is impossible to make them surrender. Tsunade looked at Akiri Yagyu and said straight to the point. Looking at Akiri Yagyu, Tsunade frowned and asked in a deep voice.